After hanging up, the phone rang again. Chairman, bad news, a gentle male voice came from the phone. Gao Feng really wanted to say scream. In the end, he could only grit his teeth and say, speak. Our stocks have fallen to the limit, the refined man said. What? Gao Feng exclaimed in surprise. The stock price had fallen by 10%. His company's market value was in the billions, which meant that he had lost hundreds of millions in a day. This was something he could not accept. Quickly investigate why this is happening, Gao Feng shouted anxiously. It's because our company's use of gutter oil has completely exploded on the internet, the refined man said. Gao Feng thought for a moment and said, I'll transfer 200 million over, buy the stocks back and stabilize the stock price, hurry up with public relations. Yes, the refined man said. After Gao Feng hung up the phone, he asked the finance department to transfer 200 million yuan. When he was done, his phone rang again. Chairman, bad news, the bank said that there's a problem with the loan. We have to return the 1 billion debt today. Otherwise, they'll take enforcement measures, the man on the phone said anxiously. What? Gao Feng shouted in fear. One had to know. Their company's total liquid capital was only 300 million. He had just transferred 200 million yuan to buy back the stocks and had already spent most of the company's funds. Now to return the bank 1 billion. What should he do? Gao Feng dialed the bank number. However, the bank's attitude was very firm. Gao Feng quickly dialed the number of the finance department again, wanting to stop them from using 200 million yuan to buy stocks. However, it was already too late. Gao Feng had to solve the negative news of the company while raising money. He was haggard. Just like that, the huge Aya group finally collapsed in just 3 days. On this day, Gao Zhenbo drove his Ferrari home. When Gao Feng, who was sitting in the living room, saw him, his eyes immediately turned red. He shouted sternly, "Bastard, you still dare to come back." As soon as he finished speaking, Gao Feng kicked him fiercely. Bang! Gao Zhenbo fell to the ground in pain and curled up. A rich lady with heavy makeup and a pearl necklace pushed Gao Feng to the side and said sternly, "Why did you hit your son?" "Why did I hit him?" Gao Feng asked. "Ask him what he did." With the help of the noblewoman, Gao Zhenbo struggled to get up. "Dad, what did I do?" Gao Zhenbo was puzzled. "What did you do?" Gao Feng said. "All right, let me ask you, do you know Lin Fan?" In the past 3 days, Aya Group had been targeted and suppressed by many large forces in finance, food, logistics, entertainment, and other aspects. Gao Feng found it very strange, so he spent a lot of effort only to find out that the problem was his son. "You hit me because I offended Lin Fan," Gao Zhenbo shouted. Even though Gao Zhenbo had already sought revenge on Lin Fan, every time he thought about how he was chased out, he would still grit his teeth. Therefore, Gao Zhenbo was immediately pissed off that his father hit him because of Lin Fan. "You're still stubborn," Gao Feng shouted sternly. At the same time, he slapped Gao Zhenbo's face. "Bastard, you hit our son again, I'll fight you to the death," the noblewoman shouted and stretched out her hands to grab Gao Feng's arm. Ugh! Immediately, several scarlet marks appeared on Gao Feng's arm and blood flowed. "You shrew!" Gao Feng flung the noblewoman aside. "How dare you scold me and hit me? Divorce, I want to divorce you," the noblewoman wailed. Gao Feng was not moved at all and shouted, "So be it, I don't want to live with you anymore, take your bastard son and get lost." The noblewoman was not to be trifled with. "You're finally saying what's on your mind, huh? Then let's divorce. Aya Group was established after we got married. I have half of the shares, hurry up and transfer them to me." "Half of the shares? Then you have to see if our Aya Group is still around," Gao Feng sneered. "What do you mean?" The noblewoman was puzzled. "What do you mean? You'll have to ask your precious son. He offended Lin Fan and our Aya Group is completely gone now," Gao Feng shouted. Silence! The entire house suddenly fell silent. The noblewoman and Gao Zhenbo were completely stunned on the spot. Lin Fan did not know anything about Aya Group. For the past 3 days he ate, went to class and slept every day. His days were very relaxed and pleasant. When the school bell rang today, a crisp notification sounded in Lin Fan's mind. Ding, you've completed the hidden mission. A just cause has many helpers. You've received 5 silver packets. When Lin Fan heard this, he could not help but reveal a doubtful look. What was this hidden mission about? A just cause has many helpers. He did not seem to have done anything. He suddenly completed a mission. At this moment, Song Jiaxin slowly walked over and said, Liu Yuhang, Sun Luguo, Tan Shengyu, Duan Kaiyan, and Zhang Bin caused Aya Group to go bankrupt. Lin Fan's face revealed a look of realization. Only then did he understand what the mission was about. Before he could teach Gao Zhenbo a lesson, his family and company were already gone. Although Song Jiaxin said it calmly, Lin Fan knew that they had spent a lot of effort. After all, Aya Group was a company with a market value of billions. Lin Fan said, it's been hard on you guys, call everyone out to gather. All right, Song Jiaxin nodded. Jiangbei Hotel. Room 888. Duan Kaiyan and Liu Yuhang walked in one after another. I've eaten at Jiangbei Hotel before, Duan Kaiyan praised. However, I never knew room 888 existed. This renovation, isn't this a little too high-end? It's normal that you don't know, Liu Yuhang said. Room 888 is only open to some big shots. I've only eaten here once with the leaders of Jiangbei before. Room 888 is not only beautifully decorated, but the dishes, cigarettes, and wine in this room are all specially provided. You can't buy them outside. Hearing this, Duan Kaiyan's eyes immediately lit up. He said excitedly, doesn't that mean I can enjoy myself today? The few of them chatted as they waited. Not long after, Zhang Bin and Tan Shengyu followed them in. They were also full of praise for room 888. When Sun Luguo walked in wearing a white suit, Liu Yuhang immediately called out, I was wondering why you came so late. You actually went to change into a flashy suit. Sun Luguo glanced at Liu Yuhang but did not say anything. After so many years, Sun Luguo was completely immune to Liu Yuhang's vulgarities. Since everyone is here, I'll get them to start serving the dishes, Lin Fan said. After saying that, he pressed a button on the table. Not long after, dishes that looked, smelled, and tasted good as well as specially provided Maotai and cigarettes were served one after another. Lin Fan said, I'll remember everything you've done for me. We're all good friends, so I won't say thank you. This toast is for you. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Fan raised his wine glass and downed the contents in one gulp. With Lin Fan's strength, it would be a piece of cake for him to destroy Aya Group. However, since Liu Yuhang and Sun Luguo had chosen to help, Lin Fan would remember their deed. Everyone naturally understood what Lin Fan meant. Their faces were all filled with joy. Not to mention the power behind Lin Fan, just the financial ability he displayed last time was enough to make everyone befriend him. They raised their glasses and said, Brother Lin Fan, you're too polite. What toast? Let's toast together. Everyone had a great time during the meal. It was not until 9:30 p.m. that everyone walked out of Jiangbei Hotel reeking of alcohol. Of course, Lin Fan was an exception. He had drinking gentlemen. After drinking, the alcohol would directly break down and there would be no alcohol smell on him at all. As it was quite late, Lin Fan did not go back to school or Yiki City. Instead, he went to Coiling Dragon Villa. When Lin Fan opened the door, he found Su Ningjing lying on the floor. Her eyes were filled with tears. Lin Fan rushed forward and called out, Su Ningjing, Su Ningjing. However, she did not react at all. Hence, Lin Fan carried her up and placed her on the sofa. At this moment, Su Ningjing seemed to have woken up as she slowly opened her eyes. Su Ningjing, why did you faint on the ground? Asked Lin Fan. After Lin Fan mentioned it, Su Ningjing immediately thought of something. Large tears rolled down from the corners of her eyes as she said, Granny's surgery failed. I want to go back and see Granny. As she spoke, Su Ningjing struggled to stand up. However, after she fell, her arms and legs were injured. For a moment, she did not have the strength to stand up. Lin Fan said, Where's your granny's house? I'll bring you there. Then Lin Fan did not wait for Su Ningjing to reply and helped her up again. At first, Su Ningjing was still nervous and flustered. However, the moment Lin Fan picked her up, Su Ningjing felt his strong arms and warm embrace. For some reason, she suddenly felt at ease. This feeling, it was as if as long as Lin Fan was around, all the difficulties and dangers would disappear. In Li City, Southern Province, Su Enning said quietly. All right, Lin Fan replied and placed Su Ningjing in the front passenger seat of the Pagani Hugra. At the same time, he took out his phone and quickly checked the plane tickets. After all, Li City was more than 2,000 kilometers away from Jiangbei. Obviously, going by plane would be faster. There's a flight to Li City in an hour. As soon as he finished speaking, Lin Fan bought 2 first-class seats. Then he stepped on the accelerator and sped toward the airport. The road at night was very empty. Lin Fan's Pagani Hutra seemed to have turned into a beam of light in the night as it sped forward. When Lin Fan arrived at the airport with Su Ningjing, it was time to check in. Boom! After a roar, the plane's speed began to increase. Finally, it completely disappeared into the dark night sky. Lin Fan saw that Su Ningjing's pretty face was still filled with worry. He said softly, "Don't worry, Granny will be fine." If an ordinary person said such words, Su Ningjing would definitely think that the other party was just comforting her. She would not care at all. However, after Lin Fan said that, for some reason, Su Ningjing instinctively chose to believe him. In the distance, a full moon hung high in the sky, bright and clear. About 2 hours later, the plane landed steadily at Li City Airport. At this moment, a Toyota was already waiting in the parking lot. This was the car that Lin Fan had rented before he boarded the plane. He showed his driver's license, proved his identity, and drove Su Ningjing straight to the hospital. When Su Ningjing smelled the pungent disinfectant in the hospital, it seemed to have healed Su Ningjing's legs and feet. It made her lose all sense of pain as she kept speeding up her pace. In the distance, a 12 or 13-year-old girl was sitting alone on a bench. Her thin and weak face was extremely haggard. "Sister," Su Ningjing called out softly. "Sis," the little girl looked up excitedly. She walked over with her slender legs and rushed toward Su Ningjing. The sisters hugged each other warmly. 186 Buying a car, miracle. Su Ningjing's parents passed away a long time ago. Although Su Ningjing really wanted to stay by her sister and grandmother's side in order to support her entire family, she resolutely left her hometown after she became an adult and worked outside to earn money all year round. It had been a long time since Su Ningjing had seen her sister. She had been away for a long time, and her relationship with her sister had faded. It was because she wanted to save on travel expenses so that her grandmother and sister could live a better life. "How's Granny?" Su Ningjing asked. "Granny." Ame felt the urge to cry, and sparkling tears kept rolling down. The doctor said that Grandma's surgery failed. She's going to die, boo-hoo. When Su Enning heard this, fatigue and pain seemed to instantly hit her heart, causing her entire body to sway. Lin Fan hurriedly supported Su Ningjing and said, "Don't worry, there's still a way. Let's go and see Granny first." "Yes, yes," Su Ningjing nodded vigorously. As it was close to 2 in the morning, the patients and their families were already asleep. In the multi-patient ward, snoring and grinding sounds could be heard from time to time. Su Ningjing looked at the emaciated old lady who was lying in the innermost part of the ward. She was wearing an oxygen mask and her body was thin and haggard. Immediately, large drops of tears rolled down her face. At this moment, the device beside her suddenly let out a series of urgent alarms, and the curve of the electrocardiogram was almost straightened. Su Ningjing and Ame cried out in panic, "Granny, Granny." Lin Fan raised his eyebrows. He spent 10 million yuan to buy some medical water from the system and poured it into the old lady's mouth. It had to be said that the effect of medical water was indeed excellent. Soon, the device stopped its alarm, and the EKG returned to its usual ups and downs. The old lady even slowly opened her eyes and called out, "Ah Jiang, is that you?" "It's me, Granny, it's me," Su Ningjing said excitedly. "Granny," Ame called out. "It's great to see you again," the old woman said in a hoarse voice. "Granny, you can still see me often in the future," Su Ningjing said. That night Su Ningjing and her family were all exhausted, but they spent the night happily. The next day, Lin Fan drove out to buy breakfast in the morning.
Tusk.
However, after driving for a short distance, the rented Toyota suddenly stalled. Lin Fan wanted to turn on the engine again, but it was still stagnant there. Are all rented cars in such bad condition? Lin Fan pursed his lips. Then he took out his phone and dialed the rental company's number, wanting to return the Toyota to them. When Lin Fan passed by a Porsche shop, he walked straight in. "Welcome to Porsche," the salesperson standing at the door smiled. Lin Fan nodded and asked, "Do you have an SUV?" Lin Fan remembered that Su Ningjing lived in the mountains. An SUV was more convenient. Yes, the salesperson led Lin Fan to the exhibition hall at the back. He pointed at a tall and cool white SUV and said, "This is a Cayenne it has." However, before the salesperson could introduce the car to Lin Fan interrupted, "All right, I'll take it." As he spoke, he handed over a bank card. The salesperson was stunned. This was it. What was going on? He had not introduced the configuration or the price. After a while, the salesperson said, "Ooh, which Cayenne do you want? In addition, you need to add some options when you buy a Porsche car. Why don't you choose them first?" Lin Fan waved his hand. "It doesn't matter, just add whatever you think is necessary. However, I only have one request. Can I pick up the car today?" "No, no problem," the salesperson said in a daze. Lin Fan nodded his head in satisfaction. Just like that, a 4T Cayenne with a floor-to-ceiling model of 2.56 million yuan was completed in just a few minutes. As for the registration and insurance, Lin Fan spent another 10,000 yuan and asked the shop to help him settle everything. He did not have that much time to wait. When Lin Fan returned to the hospital with breakfast, a large group of doctors was performing a detailed examination on the old lady's body.
Eh?
All the doctors had a look of disbelief on their faces. It was because they knew the old lady's situation very well. After the failure of the surgery yesterday, all the doctors unanimously agreed that there was no point in treating her. According to their experience, this old lady could only last 2 days at most. However, what was the situation now? The results of the checkup just now showed that the old lady's physical indicators had completely returned to normal. Normal? No. Her current health could even be compared to some young people. A miracle, a bald doctor concluded.
Eh?
Su Ningjing could not help but look at Lin Fan. She understood that this was not a miracle at all. It was Lin Fan. It was Lin Fan who had saved her. Last night, Granny was critically ill. After Lin Fan gave her some medicine, she was completely fine. "Don't give the old lady any medication for the time being," the bald doctor said after a while. "Let her stay in the hospital for observation for 2 more days." After saying that, he led the group of doctors out. "Thank you, Lin Fan," Su Ningjing said softly. Lin Fan naturally understood what she was thanking him for. He waved his hand and said, "It's just a small matter, let's eat something first." Since the old lady had returned to normal, Su Ningjing and Ah Mei's appetite had improved a lot. Donuts, steamed buns, and noodles, they finished all the food. At this moment, a doctor wearing black-rimmed glasses slowly walked over and asked, "Has the old lady taken her medicine?" "Didn't you say that she doesn't need to take medicine anymore?" Su Ningjing asked curiously. The doctor could not help but cough awkwardly and said, "Yes, I'm just here to remind you that she doesn't need to take any medicine." Then he picked up the stethoscope and pretended to check the old lady's body. In fact, the doctor with glasses was not here to remind the patient's family of this. During his ward rounds in the morning, he saw Su Ningjing. At that time, the doctor with glasses was shocked. However, since there were other doctors present, he did not strike up a conversation directly. At this moment, he had specially come over to strike up a conversation. "Ningjing, have some water," said Lin Fan. "All right," Su Ningjing answered and took the water. Only then did the doctor notice Lin Fan. He looked at Lin Fan's tall and handsome appearance and felt a sense of danger. "Are you her brother?" the doctor asked. Lin Fan smiled. "Oh no, I'm her friend." As he spoke, he even patted Su Ningjing's shoulder to show his closeness. If someone else had done this, Su Ningjing would have immediately dodged to the side. However, it was Lin Fan. Her pretty face was flushed red and her heart was beating wildly. She was completely filled with nervousness and happiness. 187 Eating, sitting in my car is more comfortable. The doctor with glasses was so jealous that he was trembling when he saw how intimate the two of them were. Why did such a beauty belong to someone else? He suppressed the unwillingness in his heart and took out a pen and paper to write a few words casually. He pretended to record the patient's condition before slowly leaving the ward. The entire ward returned to silence. Time continued to flow. Soon it was 12 p.m. The phone in Lin Fan's pocket vibrated. The red packets were here. Ding, congratulations, you've received 5 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 1,999 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 12,222 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 99 yuan. Lin Fan received a total of 31,922 yuan from today's red packets. He chose to ignore such a small amount of money. Then Lin Fan looked at the 510 unopened red packets on the screen. These were the red packets that Lin Fan had earned from buying the Porsche Cayenne, treating Song Jiaxin, Sun Luguo and the others to a meal during the gathering and all his expenses during this period of time. Lin Fan muttered in his heart, I'll open them all when I have 1,000 red packets. Then he turned his attention to the sign-in system. Sign in. Ding, the sign-in was successful. Congratulations, you've obtained the Palace Hotel. It's located in Lee City. It's high-end, luxurious, and has good local delicacies. Cool. At this moment, Lin Fan's stomach let out a soft groan. He muttered in his heart, did I get a restaurant? Coincidentally, I'm a little hungry. Ningjing Ame, it's time for dinner, let's go eat together. The two of them looked at the old lady lying on the hospital bed and hesitated for a moment. I'm fine now, the old lady said with a smile. You guys can eat without worry, just bring me some porridge when you come back. The two of them listened to the old lady's kind and energetic voice and nodded. At this moment, the sun was high in the sky. A few birds jumped from one dense treetop to another dense treetop as if they were hiding from the sunlight. Just as Lin Fan and the rest walked out of the hospital, a BMW drove out slowly. The bespectacled doctor was sitting in the car and happened to see the three of them. A hint of joy appeared on his face. He rolled down the window and said in a surprised tone, Su Ningjing, why are you guys here? Are you guys going out? The sun is so bright now, I'll give you a ride. Thank you for your kindness, but I won't trouble you. There's a bus stop ahead, it's very convenient for us to ride it. In the morning, Lin Fan told Su Ningjing that the Toyota had broken down and had been returned to the rental company. That was why Su Ningjing wanted to take the bus out for dinner. When the doctor with glasses heard this, he was even happier. Although Su Ningjing's boyfriend was handsome, he did not even have a car. How could he compare to her? He had a BMW. It seemed like he still had a great chance of snatching Su Ningjing away. At the thought of this, the bespectacled doctor looked at Lin Fan with a look of pride and disdain. Then he said, what trouble could it be? It's not a big deal. Besides, are you willing to let your little sister squeeze on the bus? It's time to get off work now, there'll be many people on the bus. What if she's squeezed out? Children should be taken good care of. If the bespectacled doctor had used other reasons to invite Su Ningjing to sit in the BMW, then Su Ningjing would have definitely rejected him immediately. However, since he brought up Ame's safety, this made Su Ningjing hesitate. What should she do if her sister was really injured? When the doctor with glasses saw this, he was overjoyed. He knew that there was hope. Therefore he opened his mouth again. Su Ningjing, didn't you see the news? A while ago, a child died on the bus because the bus suddenly braked. That was a bloody lesson. So you guys should just take my car, it's safer and more comfortable. When Su Ningjing heard this, she was completely moved. She opened her mouth as if she wanted to say something. Beep beep. At this moment, a loud beeping noise sounded in the distance. Then a brand new Porsche Cayenne drove over from afar and stopped steadily behind them. A salesperson in a suit walked down from the driver's seat and came to Lin Fan respectfully. "Mr. Lin, your car." Obviously, this was the Porsche Cayenne that Lin Fan had bought in the morning. It had to be said that the efficiency of the Porsche shop was indeed good. In just one morning, all the procedures were completed. "Okay," Lin Fan replied. Then he turned around and said, "The doctor is right, there are indeed many people on the bus, it's more comfortable to take a private car. Ningjing Ame, let's get in the car." Soon Ningjing did not hesitate at all. She brought her sister to sit in the Porsche Cayenne that was still emitting a faint fragrance. Eh, boom. Lin Fan got into the driver's seat and stepped on the accelerator. The tall and cool Porsche Cayenne sped forward like a gust of wind. This scene. The doctor in glasses saw everything, and his face was filled with disbelief. That young man actually had a Porsche Cayenne. Moreover, it was a 4T. How was this possible? That was a super luxury car worth millions. Originally, the bespectacled doctor wanted to show off his BMW to let Su Ningjing understand his strength and let Lin Fan understand the gap between them. Now what was going on? Honk honk. At this moment, an urgent honking noise sounded behind him. "Hey, what's the person in front doing at the entrance? Hurry up and leave." "Who's blocking the entrance? Don't you know that this is the exit of the hospital? Security, do you know who it is?" "Director, it seems to be Dr. Huang Kai from the surgical department," the security guard beside him said respectfully. "Huang Kai, why are you blocking the entrance? Get out of the way," the dean shouted. When the doctor with glasses heard this voice, he was so scared that his entire body trembled. He said in a panic, "Yes, I'm sorry, Dean, I'll move away now." As soon as he finished speaking, he quickly stepped on the accelerator and drove forward. One had to know. The dean of Lee City Central Hospital was famous for being narrow-minded. He had blocked the entrance for so long just now, he was afraid that the dean would make things difficult for him. When the doctor with glasses thought of this, he felt a wave of frustration. As a result, he accidentally ran a red light. Seeing this, the bespectacled doctor was even more annoyed. "What the hell, what kind of bad luck am I having today?" he said angrily. "No, I have to eat something good to change my luck." After saying that, the doctor turned the steering wheel and headed toward a famous restaurant in Lee City. 188. The boss is my best friend. Hello, boss. Just as the doctor with glasses said, it was time to get off work, and there were many cars on the way. Lin Fan was stuck in a traffic jam for a while, and he was not familiar with the route. It took him nearly half an hour to reach the entrance of the Palace Hotel. This was a tall and majestic building with green bricks and tiles. There were two ferocious lions standing on both sides. Looking through the red door, one could see a spacious courtyard, green pine trees, and a bridge. It was filled with a classical aura. If it weren't for the words Palace Hotel hanging on the door, perhaps everyone would have thought that this was a historical site similar to a prince's residence. Many men and women dressed in gorgeous clothes walked inside. Ame stood at the door and raised her head in admiration. "Wow, it's so beautiful. Why don't we change places to eat?" Su Ningjing hesitated. She had always been thrifty and did not want to waste money eating in such a good place. Lin Fan knew what she was thinking and smiled. "Why change places? Wouldn't it be more economical to eat at my own restaurant?" Su Ningjing could not help but blink her big eyes, and a hint of doubt appeared on her pretty face. At this moment, a surprised voice suddenly sounded behind them. "Huh, Su Ningjing, are you guys here to eat too?" The doctor with glasses did not expect to meet Su Ningjing again as soon as he separated from her. This was simply, it was the heavens who had created an opportunity for him. As expected, his luck had improved. Su Ningjing turned around and said in surprise, "Yes." "What a coincidence," the doctor said happily. "You must have been attracted by the Palace Hotel's reputation, right? The restaurant here is indeed very good. The environment is elegant and filled with a classical aura. It's simply like a royal residence. More importantly, I heard that the restaurant's menu was passed down from the royal chefs in the past. The taste of the food is simply superb." When the doctor said this, it was as if he had already smelled the delicious food. He could not help but swallow his saliva. It's also because of this that the Palace Hotel is very popular. It's time to eat now, so there shouldn't be any tables left. But it doesn't matter, I'm good friends with the owner of this restaurant. It won't be a problem if I go in and tell him. The bespectacled doctor could not help but pat his chest, extremely pleased with himself. In fact, how could he have such a close relationship with the boss? He only knew the foreman of the Palace Hotel. However, in order to show off his abilities in front of Su Ningjing, the doctor began to brag. The bespectacled doctor looked at Lin Fan arrogantly. It was as if he was saying, although you drive a Cayenne, I know the owner of the Palace Hotel. My status is higher than yours. Lin Fan could not help but laugh. Am I really close to you? Huh. The doctor was stunned. I don't even know your name. What do you mean by that? Lin Fan nodded his head in agreement. Then the bespectacled doctor took the lead and walked in front. Welcome to the Palace Hotel, the two attendants standing at the door smiled. Are there any vacant tables? The doctor asked. It's best if it's a private room. I'm sorry, sir, a waiter said. Our restaurant is fully booked. If you don't mind, you can sit at the side and wait for a while. Initially, the doctor with glasses thought that there would be an empty table. However, it was really fully booked. He straightened his neck and said, Your boss and I are brothers. Tell your foreman, Zhang Chengji, to help us arrange a table. The attendants had seen all kinds of people before. They were smart people. How could they not understand that the bespectacled doctor did not know their boss at all? Otherwise, how could it be possible for Zhang Chengji, that little foreman, to give them a table? It was likely that the head foreman, or even the manager or the general manager, would come out. The attendants despised the doctor, but they still smiled. I'm sorry, Foreman Zhang Chengji is on leave today, so I'm afraid he can't arrange a table for you. Why don't you wait by the side? When the doctor with glasses heard this, he could only cough awkwardly and continue to brag. The foreman who knows my identity is not here today, Su Ningjing. Why don't we wait for a table, or should we go to another restaurant? At this moment, hurried footsteps could be heard from afar. A man in a suit jogged over. The two attendants standing at the door hurriedly said, Hello, General Manager. The General Manager, Zhang Kong, did not pay attention to the two of them. He walked in front of Lin Fan and bowed. He said in an extremely respectful and excited tone, Hello, boss. There were two reasons why the Palace Hotel was so popular. Firstly, the Palace restaurant's dishes and environment were indeed not bad. Secondly, Zhang Kong took great care of it and put almost all his energy into the Palace Hotel. There was no subordinate who did not want their boss to know what they had done. Zhang Kong was no exception. He wanted to meet his boss and perform well. Unfortunately, he never had the chance. However, he did not expect that when he went downstairs to check on the situation of the restaurant today, his wish would actually come true. General Manager, are you the General Manager of the Palace Hotel? Yes, my name is Zhang Kong. Boss, you can just call me Lil Zhang, Zhang Kong hurriedly said. Lin Fan nodded. I'll call you Zhang Kong. After all, Zhang Kong was about 40 years old. It was a little strange to call him Lil Zhang. Lin Fan continued, the restaurant is well taken care of. Thank you for your compliment, boss, Zhang Kong said excitedly. Although it was just a short sentence, Zhang Kong was ecstatic. It was as if he had heard the most beautiful sound in the world. Lin Fan asked, Are there any available tables? My friends and I are here for dinner. Yes, our restaurant has reserved the most luxurious private room for you. This way, please, Zhang Kong said respectfully. The bespectacled doctor standing at the side could not help but ask, what kind of boss is he? Zhang Kong thought that the doctor with glasses was also one of Lin Fan's friends. Of course, he's the owner of our Palace Hotel. Boom! His words were like a clap of thunder in the doctor's ears. When Zhang Kong addressed Lin Fan as boss, he already had a guess. However, at this moment, he could not help but be shocked to the extreme. Lin Fan was the owner of the Palace Hotel. He had just said that he was good friends with the owner of the Palace Hotel. No wonder Lin Fan asked if their relationship was good. This. He was bragging, but he was bragging to the main character. At this moment, the doctor with glasses wished he could find a place to hide. Therefore, he did not follow Lin Fan and the rest to the luxury room. Instead, he lowered his head and left the palace hotel quickly. Embarrassing. It was too embarrassing. On the top floor of the Palace Hotel, there was a very spacious and tall private room with carved railings and jade walls. The entire private room was luxurious and elegant, giving people the feeling that they had transformed into royalty. Then, Zheng Kong personally carried 3 porcelain bowls with gold edges into the room. This is the Imperial Buddha jumps over the wall soup. It's made from a variety of meat and 18 kinds of seasonings. After 48 hours of boiling, the soup is rich and the meat soft. It melts in your mouth. Legend has it that it was the emperor's favorite dish back then. As he spoke, Zheng Kong lifted the lids of the bowls one by one. Whoosh! 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 In an instant, a fragrant smell filled the entire private room, making people's eyes widen. Immediately after, Zheng Kong brought over another dish. It was red and had an extremely rich fragrance. This is stir-fried phoenix tongue. The original dish is stir-fried with the tongue of a sparrow. Nowadays, this kind of bird is almost extinct and has become a precious animal. However, after many years of research by our chefs, the tongues of chickens, ducks, geese, pigeons, and other birds can reproduce the same flavor by mixing 11 kinds of condiments. This dish isn't inferior to the original stir-fried phoenix tongue. Then Zheng Kong served a golden dish. This is pork tenderloin. Back then, most of the princes and ministers wore purses made of golden silk. Therefore, the imperial chefs imitated the purses and made this dish. This dish is made from top-quality pork tenderloin, sliced jade orchid, mushrooms, eggs, and other ingredients. It's a delicacy and was very popular among the princes and ministers. A moment later, Zheng Kong carried a large golden clay pot over. He placed the clay pot in the middle and slowly opened the lid. Whoosh! In an instant, a crisp sound rang out and soared into the sky. An entire duck was suspended in the middle of all kinds of precious condiments. This is stewed duck, Zheng Kong said. After washing the duck, 15 kinds of seasonings were added and the duck was put in a clay pot jar to steam over a gentle fire for 3 days. It makes the meat completely soft and melt in your mouth tender. It's fatty but not greasy. Then, the chefs use the best soup to cook it for 12 hours to boost its fragrance. Zheng Kong introduced each dish in detail as it was a family treasure. Gulp! Ame, who was sitting in her seat, finally could not help but swallow her saliva. Lin Fan smiled. Some dishes have been served, eat quickly, it won't be good if it gets cold. However, Su Ningjing and Ame still did not move. They just looked at the delicious food on the table quietly with their big, sparkling eyes. Lin Fan suddenly realized that they were waiting for him to eat. He could not help but say, Ningjing, quickly eat with Ame. In the future you can eat with me. Ame must have been hungry for a long time. If she continues to starve, her body won't be able to take it. Su Ningjing had long developed the habit of eating leftovers. When she heard the first half of Lin Fan's words, she was still hesitant. However, after hearing the second half of Lin Fan's words, she started to hesitate. She looked at her sister who was swallowing her saliva and finally nodded. Ah, sister, let's eat together. Yes, yes, Ame nodded vigorously. Lin Fan, Su Ningjing, and Ame were all very happy with the meal. Before they left, they packed a portion of lean meat porridge and some light dishes. Only then did they leave the palace hotel with Zheng Kong personally sending them off. In the next 2 days, the old lady's mental state became better and better. She could even speak with great vigor and walk without any problems. The group of doctors carried out a detailed examination and called it a miracle. Finally, the old lady was allowed to leave the hospital. At this moment, Lin Fan was driving the Porsche Cayenne, carrying Su Ningjing, Ame, and Granny along the winding mountain road. They welcomed the warm sunlight and kept moving forward. They saw patches of greenery, flocks of birds, and a babbling stream. When the sun was high in the sky, a low house hidden in the depths of the mountain finally appeared in their field of vision. We're back, Ame shouted happily. A big yellow dog sitting in front of the house seemed to have noticed them. It barked excitedly and ran over happily. After Lin Fan got out of the car, he breathed in the unique fragrance of the air and looked at the mountains that pierced into the clouds in the distance. There were layers of green forests, streams, and waterfalls that fell from the sky. Beautiful. This was the unique beauty of nature. He felt relaxed and comfortable. It was as if his body had been cleansed by nature, becoming ethereal. At this moment, the phone in Lin Fan's pocket vibrated. It was 12 p.m. and the red packets were here. Ding, congratulations, you've received 5 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 1,000 yuan. Eh? Ding, congratulations, you've obtained top-grade coffee. Ding, congratulations, you've received 1,999 yuan. Eh? He received a total of 42,121 yuan from today's red packets. Lin Fan did not mind at all. His gaze fell on the top-grade coffee beans. This premium coffee species can grow rapidly in different environments, thus producing fragrant coffee beans. Seeing this, Lin Fan's face revealed a strange look. Top-grade coffee. Planting coffee beans. The rewards were getting stranger and stranger. Lin Fan shook his head and turned his attention back to the sign-in system. Sign in. Ding, congratulations, you've obtained expert-level planting technique. Expert-level planting technique, focus on farming and sweat like rain. This will show the true colors of a man, triggering supreme charm. Lin Fan blinked his eyes. He had just obtained top-grade coffee beans, and now he had obtained an expert-level planting technique. Could this be, was he supposed to become an outstanding farmer? At this moment, Su Ningjing took a handful of red dates. They looked very delicious. Lin Fan asked, did you grow these? Yes, Su Ningjing nodded repeatedly. Then I'm going to have a good taste of them, Lin Fan smiled. Then Lin Fan opened the trunk and prepared to take out a bottle of mineral water to wash the dates. At this moment, he realized that there was a big bag of coffee beans in the trunk. He immediately understood that this must be the top-grade coffee beans that he had just received from the red packet. Lin Fan washed the red dates and threw them into his mouth. Fragrant, crispy, and sweet. Lin Fan praised, the taste is really good. I didn't expect that you could plant date trees here. Not only date trees, but we also have orange trees, grapefruit trees, peach trees, and plum trees. There's a lot of land over here that can be planted, Su Ningjing said. Lin Fan could not help but look in the direction that Su Ningjing was pointing. On the 30-degree slope, there was a large patch of weeds. There were no trees or mountains around to block the sun. It was indeed a good place to grow crops. While Lin Fan and Su Ningjing were eating dates, looking at the scenery and chatting, smoke rose from the chimney of the low house. It was as if white ink was splashed on the surface of a blue lake. It flowed and spread. It was very beautiful. After a while, Ame poked her head out and shouted, "Brother, sister, it's time to eat." "All right," Lin Fan replied, "we're coming." Then he walked into the house with Su Ningjing. Su Ningjing had walked the path of the small house countless times since she was young. However, this time, it gave Su Ningjing a completely different experience. She was here with the tall and handsome Lin Fan, the masculine warmth that Lin Fan was emitting. In her memory, her father and mother seemed to have walked back home side by side like this. Gradually, Su Ningjing's heartbeat inexplicably accelerated, and her pretty face blushed. Ame, who was standing in front, blinked her big eyes and asked in confusion, "Sister, why is your face so red?" Su Ningjing stammered, How is it red? Hurry up and go in to eat." Then she lowered her head and quickened her pace. In the low house there was a small wooden table and a few chairs. It was very simple and tidy. Very soon, Su Ningjing and Ame carried out stir-fried wild vegetables, egg soup, salted radish, pickled vegetables, braised fish, and braised pork. They placed the food on the table. Lin Fan sniffed the aroma of the dishes, and his appetite was aroused. However, he soon noticed that Su Ningjing, Ame, and Granny were just standing at the side. They had no intention of sitting around the table. At first, he revealed a puzzled expression. Soon, Lin Fan thought of the habit of Su Ningjing and the others eating leftovers. "Ningjing, Ame, Granny, let's eat together." However, none of them moved. Lin Fan said, "If you guys don't come, I won't eat either." Granny, you've been standing all this time, I don't even dare to sit down. Actually, the times have completely changed. Everyone should be eating happily together. As he spoke, Lin Fan stood up and helped Granny over. Granny understood that if she and the others did not eat, the meal might slowly turn cold. Thus she nodded hesitantly and sighed. Ah, Fan is right, times have changed. Ah Jiang Ame, sit down and eat together. Su Ningjing and Ame sat down. Seeing this, Lin Fan smiled. Although the ingredients and cooking methods of the dishes on the table were very simple, Lin Fan was eating the food with satisfaction. After the meal, Ame washed a few dates and handed them to Lin Fan. Just like before, they were sweet and delicious. Lin Fan stood in front of the door, eating dates while looking at the beautiful scenery in the distance. It was empty and silent. At this moment, Lin Fan felt as though time had stopped. He was enjoying it immensely. If he lived like this forever, he should be very happy, right? Live forever. Happiness. Lin Fan looked at the simple furnishings in the house and then looked at the hill in the distance. Ame, do you want Granny to have fish and meat for every meal in the future and live a good life? Today, the reason why he could eat fish and meat was that he was very happy. That was because Lin Fan and Su Ningjing had bought groceries from the supermarket in the morning. Otherwise, they would have only been able to eat vegetables and pickles. Yes, yes, Ame nodded vigorously. Can you carry water? Lin Fan asked again. Yeah, Ame replied. Lin Fan patted Ame's head and said, then bring a bucket of water over. After saying that, Lin Fan picked up his hoe and shovel. He first carried the bag of top-grade coffee beans on his shoulder and then slowly walked toward the hill. Then Lin Fan picked up the hoe and started to turn the slope, planting the coffee beans. One had to know. Lin Fan had the skill, violent aesthetics. His physical strength was not something that ordinary people could compare to. In addition, he obtained expert-level planting technique not long ago. Lin Fan dug the ground and planted the coffee beans. It was as easy as drinking water. He was very skilled. At this moment, Ame came over with a bucket of water. Hence, after Lin Fan dug the ground and planted the beans, he had the additional task of watering them. His movements were natural and smooth, like an old farmer who had been farming for many years. This scene. Su Ningjing, who had just finished cleaning up, saw everything. In Su Ningjing's eyes, Lin Fan did not seem to be farming at all. He was like an artist drawing a beautiful picture or a pianist playing a beautiful song. The scene was beautiful. He was very attractive. For a moment, Su Ningjing was a little dazed. As time passed, the setting sun shone on Lin Fan's head, bringing his beauty to its peak. His figure shone with a dazzling light under the afterglow of the setting sun. At this moment, Lin Fan was the sun in Su Ningjing's heart. Skill, expert-level planting technique, infinite charm displayed. Su Ningjing's heart kept beating faster and faster. The next moment, a crisp notification rang out in Lin Fan's mind. Ding, an unforgettable memory has been activated. Unforgettable memory. Lin Fan was stunned. The last time he was driving, he had somehow triggered an unforgettable event. He had yet to find out who it was. Now, why was it triggered when he was farming? Who was it this time? Lin Fan looked at Ame, who had just brought another bucket of water and secretly used his eyes of truth. Appearance 90. Favorability 70. Lin Fan could not help but exclaim in his heart. She was only 12 or 13 years old and her body had yet to fully mature, yet she was given 90 points for her appearance. Once she grew up, what would her score be? 70 points of favorability meant that their relationship was relatively good. She was probably not the one who triggered an unforgettable memory. It's all right, it's all right. She was only 12 or 13 years old. She was a little girl. The highest punishment was death. Seeing Lin Fan looking at her, Ame blinked her black eyes and asked curiously, "Brother, what's wrong? Is there dirt on my face?" After saying that, she could not help but use her mud-stained hand to wipe her small face. Originally, there was indeed nothing hidden on her face. Now, there was. Ame seemed to have sensed this as well. She quickly took out some water from the bucket and washed her face. Lin Fan shook his head and rubbed his chin. If it was not Mei, then who was it? He slowly looked around. The next moment Lin Fan and Su Ningjing locked eyes. It was as if the pause button had been pressed at this moment. Su Ningjing was completely stunned. Appearance 95. Favorability 98. It turned out that the one who triggered an unforgettable memory was Su Ningjing. At this moment, Mei had washed her face several times and raised her head to ask, "Brother, sister, is there anything dirty on my face?" Her voice was very clear and pleasant, like the sound of spring water. At this moment, it was like a stone thrown into a lake, setting off ripples and completely breaking the silence of the scene. Su Ningjing recalled the scene just now and her heart raced again. Her pretty face turned red and she quickly lowered her head. Lin Fan turned around and smiled. "Let me see, there's nothing else, your face is very clean." "All right," Mei said happily. At this moment, an old man carrying a bamboo basket slowly walked over and said with a smile, "Young man, your farming skills are really good." Lin Fan said, "Grandpa, you flatter me, I just watched you and learned from there." Eh? In the blink of an eye, 2 days had passed. In the past 2 days, Lin Fan had gone into the river to catch fish, climbed trees to pick fruits, and climbed mountains to pick flowers. He took a good look at the surrounding scenery. Moreover, he planted all the top-grade coffee varieties on the hillside. Today, Lin Fan packed his luggage and sat quietly in the Porsche Cayenne with Su Ningjing. Under the gazes of Granny, Sister, and Big Yellow, they sped toward the airport. After all, the old lady's body had completely recovered, and the top-grade coffee beans had been planted. Although the air in the mountains was good, and the environment was great, Lin Fan felt that it was not suitable for him to stay for too long. Perhaps when he was old, he would choose to find a mountain forest and live a life in a garden. Lin Fan parked the Porsche Cayenne in the airport parking lot. Then, under the meticulous care of the stewardess, they passed through the VIP passage and lay down on the spacious first-class seats. Rumble! After a loud roar, the plane began to accelerate. Like a majestic goshawk, it pierced through the clouds and soared freely under the blue sky. About 2 hours later, the plane finally landed steadily. Then Lin Fan drove the Pagani Hudra from the parking lot and sped toward the Coiling Dragon Villa. When they arrived at Coiling Dragon Villa, the sun was setting. Perhaps it was because of the sunset, Su Ningjing sniffed the empty villa and smelled Lin Fan's scent. Her pretty face was as red as the setting sun. At this moment, Lin Fan's stomach suddenly let out a soft growl. "I'll go cook first," Su Ningjing said hurriedly. It had to be said that the refrigerator in Coiling Dragon Villa was indeed something that Lin Fan had spent 100,000 yuan to buy. Even if the vegetables and meat were placed in the refrigerator for several days, there was no change at all. With the sound of vegetables being washed and stir-fried, the kitchen began to fill with a fragrance that made one salivate. After eating wild animals in the mountains for a few days, returning to the city for a meal gave Lin Fan a different feeling. After eating, Lin Fan went to the bathroom to take a hot shower. Then he lay on the sofa leisurely and played with his phone. Su Ningjing tidied up the kitchen and cleaned the villa again. Then, she went to the bathroom. Lin Fan played with his phone for a long time and could not help but feel a little bored. Hence, he turned his attention to the sign-in system. He muttered in his heart, "These few days I kept getting 10 million. I hope that there'll be something different today." Sign in. Ding, congratulations, you've obtained 51% of Cha Yue's shares. Cha Yue was a unique milk tea chain from Sha City, but it was also a famous milk tea brand in the country. In Sha City, one could see a Cha Yue milk tea shop every few steps. Even so, every Chayu shop was extremely popular. Lin Fan touched his chin and said, "In other words, I'm now the biggest shareholder of Cha Yue. Today's sign-in is barely considered good." Barely good. Cha Yan had not been listed yet. Once it was listed, it would be estimated to be at least tens of billions. In other words, Lin Fan had obtained billions of dollars worth of assets. Krieg. At this moment the bathroom door opened, and a thick mist filled the air. Then Su Ningjing, who was wearing loose white home clothes, slowly appeared. At this moment, Su Ningjing's black hair was still a little wet. However, it was also because of this that her hair was even straighter, like a waterfall flowing down the river. Snow-white skin, beautiful facial features, and a perfect figure. In addition, the bathroom behind her was filled with mist. At this moment, Su Ningjing seemed to have transformed into a fairy who had descended into the human world. Su Ningjing saw that Lin Fan was staring at her, and she could not help but be at a loss. She had just taken a shower and her shoes were wet. They were already a little slippery and she fell to the ground. Lin Fan's eyes were sharp and his hands were fast. He took a big step forward and hugged her slender waist. Their eyes met, and the two of them could even smell each other's unique scent. Time froze again. Her heartbeat kept accelerating. Following that, the two of them seemed to be attracted to each other as they continued to approach each other. It was late at night. Coiling Dragon Villa was extremely noisy. It was endless. The next day, Lin Fan opened his eyes when a ray of sunlight shone on the windowsill. He glanced at the bright red stain on the white bed and picked up his phone out of habit. A text message appeared on the screen as usual. Notice from Merchant Bank, 3,560,000 yuan was deposited into your account. Then Lin Fan slowly got up and walked out. At this moment, the dining table was already filled with fried dumplings, buns, eggs, and other delicacies. Lin Fan said, "You were so tired last night, you should rest well today." Speaking of last night, Su Ningjing immediately thought of something. Her entire pretty face blushed and she wished she could bury her entire head in her clothes. Seeing this, Lin Fan wanted to laugh. After breakfast, Lin Fan and Su Ningjing spent some time together. At this moment his phone rang. "Brother, I'm in Jiangbei." As soon as he picked up the call, he heard his sister Lin Xiaoyao's excited voice. "What, why are you in Jiangbei?" Lin Fan asked curiously. "Brother, shouldn't you be very happy to hear that your sister is in Jiangbei?" Lin Xiaoyao pouted and complained. Lin Fan said, "I'm happy, of course I'm happy, but shouldn't you be in school? I finished our final exams yesterday and have a day off today, so I came to Jiangbei with 2 classmates," Lin Xiaoyao said excitedly. Lin Fan nodded his head and said, "Okay, where are you? I'll pick you up now." "All right, I'm getting off at East Station later," Lin Xiaoyao cheered. After hanging up the phone, Lin Fan walked out and sat in the Mercedes-Benz. He stepped on the accelerator and sped into the distance. Jiangbei East Station was the largest railway station in Jiangbei and also the hub of the country. Every day, more than 100,000 people would get on and off the trains here. In addition to the people who picked them up, there were hundreds of thousands of people at Jiangbei East Station every day. It could be said that East Station was filled with people at all times. After Lin Fan parked the car, he stood at the exit with many people. Not long after, a crisp shout sounded from the large crowd. "Brother, I'm here." Then Lin Xiaoyao, a quiet little girl wearing pink glasses and a girl with a mid-part hairstyle who looked like a little adult, walked over quickly. "Let me introduce you guys, this is my brother Lin Fan. He's studying at Jiangbei University and he's still single," Lin Xiaoyao chuckled. When Lin Fan heard that, he almost choked. This little girl, could it be that she wanted to introduce her 2 friends to him? 2 high school girls. Lin Fan subconsciously used his eyes of truth to observe the 2 of them. The quiet little girls. Appearance 85. Favorability 40. The girl who looked like a little adult. Appearance 84. Favorability 40. Their looks did not even hit 90, and their favorability toward him was at the level of a passerby. His women all scored above 90 points. How could he have any ideas about them? Of course, the main reason was that he already had a girlfriend. Yes, that was it. Lin Xiaoyao pointed at the quiet girl and said, "This is Tang Jiao." Then she pointed at the girl who looked like a little adult and said, "This is Du Yujia." Lin Fan nodded politely as a form of greeting. "You guys should be hungry, right? Let's go and eat something first." "I want to eat Jiangbei's hot dry noodles and glutinous rice chicken," Lin Xiaoyao shouted excitedly. "Okay," Lin Fan replied and led them to the parking lot. Soon, everyone arrived in front of the Mercedes-Benz. Girls did not know much about cars. Moreover, Tang Jiao and Du Yujia were only high school students, so they were even more unclear. However, when they looked at the tall and sturdy appearance of the Mercedes-Benz G, they could not help but reveal a hint of surprise on their faces. Boom! Lin Fan stepped on the accelerator and the car sped forward like a ferocious beast. Tang Jiao and Du Yujia felt the powerful driving force of the Mercedes-Benz G-Class. As a result, they had a good impression of Lin Fan. At this moment the phone in Lin Fan's pocket vibrated. 12 p.m. The red packets were here. Hence Lin Fan slammed on the brakes. Then he turned the steering wheel and parked the car in a temporary parking space by the roadside. He quickly picked up his phone and kept tapping on the red packets. Ding, congratulations, you've received 3 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 10 yuan. Eh? Lin Ziao asked curiously, brother, what are you doing? Oh, I'm snatching red packets, Lin Fan replied. Lin Ziao was speechless. Tang Jiao was speechless. Du Yujia was speechless. The three of them were speechless. Snatching red packets. If they remembered correctly, a red packet was only 200 yuan at most, right? That was the most. Under normal circumstances, it would only be a few yuan or even a few cents, right? Why was he so agitated? If others did not know, they would think that he was about to miss out on 100 million yuan. Initially, Tang Jiao and Du Yujia had a good impression of Lin Fan. At this moment it had completely vanished. Lin Ziao smiled in embarrassment. Lin Fan's lips curled up into a smile. That was because Lin Fan had just received 10% of Weibo's shares from a red packet. One had to know. Weibo was a huge enterprise with a market value of hundreds of billions. 10% of the shares were worth more than 10 billion. If only Lin Fan knew what Tang Jiao and Du Yujia were thinking. He would probably tell them that if he had missed out on these red packets just now, he would not have just missed out on 100 million yuan. It was 10 billion. Then Lin Fan started the car again and sped toward Kaijai. Kaijai Restaurant was indeed a famous snack bar in Jiangbei. The upper and lower floors were packed. It was extremely lively. Lin Ziao and the others ordered hot dry noodles, glutinous rice chicken, steamed dumplings, and many other specialties. They ate very happily and their stomachs began to expand. Where do you want to go next? Lin Fan asked. Yujia said she just finished her exams and wants to buy a bag to reward herself, Lin Ziao said. Oh, what about you? Do you want to buy one as a reward? Lin Fan continued to ask. Why would I want a bag? It's so tiring to carry it every day. Lin Ziao waved her hands. Lin Fan did not force it and asked, where do you want to go to buy a bag? Lin Fan did not force it and asked, where do you want to go to buy a bag? MK Mall, I want to buy a Gucci bag, Du Yujia said hurriedly. When Lin Fan heard this, a weird look appeared on his face. MK Mall. Was that not his own mall? Speaking of which, he had not entered the mall since the last time he obtained it. As for the Gucci bag, he even owned 5% of Gucci's shares. Du Yujia thought that Lin Fan was wondering where she got the money to buy such a high-end bag. She explained, it's my pocket money. Lin Fan nodded his head casually. Then he drove the few of them to MK Mall with ease. When Lin Fan arrived at the elevator, a middle-aged man in a suit walked over. Mr. Lin, he said excitedly. You are? Lin Fan asked curiously. I'm the general manager of MK Mall, Yuan Hong. The middle-aged man did not feel unhappy at all when Lin Fan did not recognize him. On the contrary, there was a hint of respect in his excited tone. It was no wonder that he would be like this. After all, Lin Fan was the boss of MK. A single word from him could make him pack up and leave. Oh, so it's you, Manager Yuan, Lin Fan said. Mr. Lin, are you here for the year-end meeting today? Asked Yuan Hong. No, I'm here today because my sister's classmate wants to buy a bag, Lin Fan said. After a pause, he seemed to feel that as the boss, he had never held a meeting. It could even be said that he did not manage the mall at all, which was a dereliction of duty. Thus Lin Fan said, it's mainly because I'm in a rush today. Ding! At this moment the elevator arrived. Yuan Hong was like the most considerate waiter. He bent down and personally blocked the elevator door. Under Lin Fan's instructions, he pressed the button for the fourth floor. Tang Jiao and Du Yujia were dumbfounded. The middle-aged man in front of them was the general manager of MK. Why was he so polite to Lin Xiao's brother? Since Yuan Hong was still beside them, they could not ask directly. They could only look at Lin Xiao with puzzled eyes. Obviously, they wanted to draw a conclusion from her. However, Lin Xiao only shook her head, indicating that she was not sure either. Ding! The elevator stopped steadily on the fourth floor. It had to be said that KM Mall was indeed a famous mall in Jiangbei. The luxurious and trendy decorations, coupled with the presence of many big brands, attracted many people to stroll around. Walking out of the elevator, one could see the crowd coming and going, and one could hear the sound of laughter. When shopping in the KM Mall, one would feel as though one's entire person had been elevated. Lin Fan and the others walked and looked around. Not long after, they arrived at the Gucci store. Du Yujia's eyes lit up as she looked at the high-end and fashionable decorations of the Gucci store. She could not wait to walk in. "Welcome to Gucci," the female sales assistant standing at the door smiled. Women seemed to be born with no resistance against bags. Du Yujia and Tang Jiao looked at the gorgeous Gucci bags with their mouths wide open. The female salesperson was already used to seeing this expression. She continued, "May I help you?" Du Yujia finally reacted and said, "I want to buy a bag." "Are you using it yourself? Is there a style requirement?" the saleswoman said. "Yes, it's for me. Moreover, I've already seen the bags on the internet." As Du Yujia spoke, she took out her phone and pulled out a photo of a bag from her photo album. It had to be said that the female sales assistant's professional knowledge was very solid. With just a glance, she could tell the model of the bag and the inventory. "This is the latest KP bag, but we don't have it in stock yet," the saleswoman said apologetically. "What, you don't?" Du Yujia said in disappointment. "Yujia, is there anything else you like?" Tang Jiao asked. "I've been looking at this bag for a long time. I really like it," Du Yujia said. At this moment, Lin Fan happened to see the photo of the bag on Du Yujia's phone. He was slightly stunned. "This bag? One had to know." When Lin Fan obtained 5% of Gucci's shares, the CEO sent a bunch of Gucci clothes and bags to Coiling Dragon Villa. Even though Lin Fan did not check the clothes and bags, he had the scanning ability. With just a glance, he remembered everything. One of the items was the bag shown in Du Yujia's photo. Lin Fan sighed in his heart. "If I had known that Du Yujia wanted to buy this bag, I would have taken her to Coiling Dragon Villa. I wasted a trip here." "I know where to find this bag," Lin Fan said. "Really?" Du Yujia said excitedly. She had long planned to buy her favorite bag after her finals. Therefore, whenever she had free time, she would look through the information and photos of many bags on the internet. In the end, she chose the Gucci KP bag. However, the specialty store did not sell it. Du Yujia could not help but feel disappointed. However, now Lin Fan said that he knew where to find it. This made Du Yujia feel like she had seen the light at the end of the tunnel. Lin Fan nodded. "Yes, I'll bring you there." "All right," Du Yujia said happily. Then Lin Fan, Lin Xiaoya, Du Yujia and Tang Jiao returned to the parking lot. Lin Fan stepped on the accelerator and drove out. When they arrived at the exit, Yuan Hong was waiting in front with a large group of men and women in suits and leather shoes. They even wore their name tags that stated their roles: director, deputy general manager, and so on. When they saw Lin Fan's car, they immediately stood in 2 rows like soldiers waiting for a general to inspect them. "Goodbye, Mr. Lin." Their voices were uniform and very imposing. This was a send-off arranged by Yuan Hong. In his opinion, boss Lin Fan had finally come to KM Mall. Although he could not give them any guidance, they had to show that they valued his presence. Du Yujia, Tang Jiao, and Lin Xiaoya were stunned. After the Mercedes-Benz G-Class left KM Mall, the 3 of them slowly came back to their senses. Lin Xiaoya asked, "Brother, those people are the general manager and director of KM Mall." Lin Fan had also seen the name tags on those people. He nodded and said, "Yes, they are." Then why did they do that for you? They lined up just to send you off, Lin Xiaoyao continued to ask. Du Yujia and Tang Jiao pricked up their ears. Obviously, they were also very curious about this question. Lin Fan said casually, "Oh, because I'm the owner of KM Mall." Silence. The entire car suddenly fell silent. The owner of KM Mall. One had to know that KM Mall was located in the heart of Jiangbei City, where every inch of land was worth an inch of gold. Such a huge building with such luxurious decorations and so many big brands in it. How much money did it cost? Tens of millions. A few hundred million. Even though Lin Xiaoyao knew that her brother was very impressive and was even the largest shareholder of Yinshan Mall, she was still shocked. Lin Fan did not care about it that much. He drove the Mercedes-Benz and went straight to the Coiling Dragon Villa complex. At this moment, Lin Xiaoyao and the others finally recovered from their shock. They looked at the beautiful environment in the Coiling Dragon Villa complex, and their eyes seemed to glow. These houses are like castles in fairy tales, Tang Jiao praised. Look, there are several sports cars over there, Du Yujia exclaimed. Oh my god, is that a helicopter? Lin Xiaoyao exclaimed and asked, Brother, aren't you bringing us to buy a Gucci bag? This seems to be someone's home. Lin Fan did not answer immediately. Instead, he pressed his index finger on the passcode lock. Beep. The door opened. The next moment, they saw that the house was filled with Gucci clothes and bags. Their mouths immediately turned into an O shape. Initially, Lin Fan was living in this villa. However, after the logistics company shipped Gucci's clothes and bags to this villa, he moved to another villa. As for these clothes and bags, they were no longer cared for. Lin Fan saw that they were all stunned and did not move at all. He could not help but walk in first. From the pile of clothes and bags, he took out the Gucci KP bag that Du Yujia wanted. Lin Fan smiled. Lil Yao, you said something wrong. This isn't someone else's home, it's mine. His voice was like a stone thrown into a calm lake, immediately setting off ripples. Brother, you mean, is this villa yours? Lin Xiaoyao asked in disbelief. Yes, it is, Lin Fan nodded. Then these Gucci clothes and bags, Lin Xiaoyao continued to ask. They're mine too, Lin Fan said matter-of-factly. Ah, heavens, ha ha ha, Lin Xiaoyao shouted excitedly. She ran toward the mountain of clothes and bags and finally pounced on them. 194 The security guards are really too professional, only me. Lin Xiaoyao struggled in the sea of clothes and bags. Then she picked up a few bags and came in front of Lin Fan. She said excitedly, Brother, do you think I look better carrying this bag or this one? This one seems more elegant. This is not bad either. Wow, this bag is so cute. Lin Fan looked at her fiddling with the bags and thinking seriously. He could not help but laugh. Didn't you say that it's hard to carry a bag around? In fact, Lin Xiaoyao did not find it difficult to carry a bag around. Even though she knew that Lin Fan was amazing and he said that she could spend his money freely, Lin Xiaoyao had never been someone who liked to spend money extravagantly. Now it was completely different. That was because her brother already had a lot of clothes and bags. It would not be a problem for her to take a few. Of course, Lin Xiaoyao would not admit to this. She blinked her big eyes and said, Really, maybe it's because I suddenly gained a lot of strength. Lin Fan looked at the way she was spouting nonsense and could not help but smile as he pinched her cheeks. Eat more, you're all skin and bones. Initially, Lin Xiaoyao was overjoyed. Upon hearing this, her entire little face turned into a ball of anger. She pouted and shouted, Brother. Seeing this, Lin Fan smiled even more happily. Then he handed the KP bag he had just taken out to Du Yujia and said, Your bag. Thank you. Du Yujia quickly took the bag, then she took out her phone and said, I'll transfer the money to you. Lin Fan could not help but think highly of Du Yujia. It's all right, you're Lil Yao's friend, it's rare for you to come to Jiangbei, take this bag as a gift. Then he said to Tang Jiao beside him, You should go and pick a bag too. Du Yujia and Tang Jiao hesitated. Even though Lin Fan had a lot of bags, more than 10 years of education had taught them not to take other people's things casually, especially if it was such an expensive Gucci bag. Lin Xiaoyao said, "Don't stand on ceremony. My brother has a lot of them anyway. It's a waste to let them sit here." When the two of them heard this, they did not stand on ceremony anymore. "By the way, brother, why did you buy so many Gucci clothes and bags?" Lin Xiaoyao asked. Tang Jiao and Du Yujia pricked up their ears. Obviously, they were also very curious. "Oh, I didn't buy these bags, they were gifts from the president of Gucci. I'm a shareholder of the company," Lin Fan said. Silence. The entire place suddenly fell silent. Gucci's shareholder. Did that not mean that Lin Fan was one of the bosses of Gucci? Heavens! They did not know how much Gucci was worth. However, this was still enough to shock them. That was because that was an internationally renowned company. Lin Fan looked at the three of them and rubbed his nose. "What do you want to do next?" Lin Xiaoya was the first to react. "Flower stem, right, we're going to buy flower stem's essence." Flower stem's essence is very useful. After applying it a few times, your skin will become fair and bright. Acne marks and blackheads will disappear completely. Lin Xiaoyao's tone became even higher. Obviously, she really desired flower stem's essence. When Lin Fan heard this, his face turned weird. Ever since Lin Fan handed the beauty water to Chu Yunyu, he never bothered himself with the matters of flower stem again. Not long ago, Chu Yunyu had called him to tell him that flower stem's essence was receiving a good response in the country. However, Lin Fan did not think too much about it. Now even his sister knew about it. Lin Xiaoyao thought that Lin Fan did not know about flower stem. "Brother, you don't know how popular flower stem is in Qing City. Their products are all snatched up as soon as they're put on the shelves." Then Lin Xiaoyao sighed and said, "I came to Jiangbei this time to try my luck. I just don't know if I can buy it." Others could not buy it. In fact, if Lin Fan wanted to, he could just buy the beauty water from the system with a thought. One had to know. Flower stem's essence was made by blending the beauty water with hundreds of times the amount of distilled water. In the future, he would give his younger sister a better essence. Now he should satisfy her wish to get flower stem's essence. Thinking of this, Lin Fan said, "Let's go, I'll bring you to buy flower stem's essence." "All right," Lin Xiaoyao said happily. Then Lin Xiaoyao carried a few bags into the Mercedes-Benz. When they passed by the entrance of the Coiling Dragon Villa complex, 2 rows of security guards had already lined up. Like soldiers, they greeted Lin Fan. The security guards are really dedicated to their work. Tang Jiao could not help but sigh. Lin Xiaoyao said, "I don't know how many people live here. If they have to line up and salute like this to every owner who goes out, that'll be too tiring." "That won't happen," Lin Fan said. "Why?" Lin Xiaoyao asked. "Because all the villas here are mine, they only need to salute me. How can they be tired?" Lin Fan said. Silence. The entire Mercedes-Benz G-Class suddenly fell silent. All the villas were his, he had said this very calmly. However, this sentence reverberated in the ears of Lin Xiaoyao, Du Jiayu, and Tang Jiao, causing their eardrums to hurt. Gulp. Du Jiayu felt her throat go dry. She could not help but swallow her saliva. She said, "Then the sports cars and helicopter in the villa." "They're all mine," Lin Fan said. "Ah, brother, go back, let's return quickly," Lin Xiaoyao shouted excitedly. "What's wrong?" Lin Fan asked. "I want to take a good look at our home," Lin Xiaoyao shouted. Lin Fan looked at her excited expression and did not dampen her spirits. He turned the car around and returned to the Coiling Dragon Villa complex. The security guard standing at the door saw Lin Fan return and stood up straight again, greeting him. Under the watchful eyes of the security guards, Lin Fan led Lin Xiaoyao, Du Jiayu, and Tang Jiao to open the doors of one villa after another. They looked at each villa and saw that the decoration style was very different. Their eyes were dazzled. When they arrived at Lin Fan's villa, Lin Xiaoyao did not go in. Instead, she rushed to the helicopter and shouted, "Brother, do you have the key? I want to go in and take a look." "It's not locked." Lin Fan pulled open the door of the helicopter. Whoosh! Instantly, the luxurious interior of the helicopter appeared in front of everyone. Lin Xiaoyao could not wait to get into the helicopter. She kept jumping around in the helicopter. she was as happy as a child. Tang Jiao and Du Yujia, who were in the helicopter, were equally surprised. However, they were relatively restrained. They only touched around for a while. Perhaps it was because they had been under the sun for too long, their little faces gradually blushed. After a long time, Lin Xiaoyao, Tang Jiao and Du Yujia reluctantly got out of the helicopter. Lin Xiaoyao looked at the helicopter, then at the supercar beside it, and then at the tall villas. Like a general inspecting soldiers, she nodded in satisfaction and said, "As expected of my house." Finally she said, "Brother, let's go buy flower stems essence." "All right," Lin Fan replied. Hence, Lin Fan and the rest were once again escorted out by 2 rows of security guards. Lin Fan drove the Mercedes-Benz G-Class through the wide roads and soon arrived at the downtown area. Lin Xiaoyao, Tang Jiao, and Du Yujia looked at the flourishing shops and yearned to go inside. "Stop!" Lin Xiaoyao suddenly shouted, "Brother, stop!" "Yes." Lin Fan stepped on the brakes and asked, "What's wrong?" "Flower stem, it's Flower Stem's shop." Lin Xiaoyao pointed at the crowded shop not far away and shouted excitedly. Then Tang Jiao and Du Yujia ran over excitedly. However, after a while, the 3 of them walked back listlessly. "Flower Stem's essence here is also sold out," Lin Xiaoyao sighed. Lin Fan smiled and said, "Get in, the place I'm taking you to will definitely have the essence." "Really?" Lin Xiaoyao asked. "When have I ever lied to you?" Lin Fan said. Then Lin Fan started the Mercedes-Benz G-Class again and continued to move forward. Not long after, the Feiyang building appeared in everyone's sight. The most eye-catching spot in the Feiyang building was the advertisement for Flower Stem. "Flower Stem, this is Flower Stem's headquarters," Lin Xiaoyao asked. "Not bad, you have some knowledge," Lin Fan said. When Lin Xiaoyao, Tang Jiao and Du Yujia heard this, they all looked excited. Flower Stem's headquarters. They would definitely have the essence. The group took the elevator and went straight to the 17th floor. Ding! As the elevator door opened, a refreshing fragrance greeted them. Through the glass, they could see the busy figures of the employees in the office. Lin Fan did not say anything and walked in. At this moment, Lin Xiaoyao pointed at the sign in front of the door. "Non-employees are not allowed to enter." After the success of Rainbow Perfume and Flower Stem Essence, Flower Stem became extremely popular. Especially after the launch of Flower Stem Essence, countless businessmen came to seek cooperation every day and countless consumers wanted to come and buy the essence. Too many people entered the company, making it difficult for Flower Stem to carry out its normal work. That was why non-employees were barred from entering. Lin Fan did not seem to hear Lin Xiaoyao's words or see the sign. He led the way in. The receptionist noticed someone coming in and stopped what she was doing and looked up. Lin Xiaoyao, Du Yujia and Tang Jiao thought, it's over, we're going to be chased out." However, the next moment the 3 of them were stunned. The beautiful receptionist quickly stood up and said in a very sweet voice, "Hello, Mr. Lin." Lin Fan nodded his head and said casually, "Hello." Although it was just a polite greeting, it made the beautiful receptionist smile even wider. "Mr. Lin, are you here to look for the president? She should be in the office now." "All right," said Lin Fan. Then Lin Fan continued walking in. However, he soon noticed that Lin Xiaoyao and the others were standing still. He could not help but turn around and say, "Lil Yao, what are you guys doing there? Let's go." All right. Lin Xiaoyao answered and followed him, though a little stiffly. Just as she was about to ask something, she had already arrived at the door of the president's office. Thus she could only swallow her words back. Lin Fan raised his hand and knocked on the door. Soon, a crisp voice sounded from inside. "Please come in." At this moment, Chu Yunyu was working on some documents with her head lowered. She looked tired but satisfied. When she raised her head and saw the person who walked in, her beautiful face immediately revealed a touch of unconcealable joy. "Lin Fan, you're here." Soon, she noticed Lin Xiaoyao and the others standing beside Lin Fan. "This is my sister Lin Xiaoyao and her classmates Du Yujia and Tang Jiao," Lin Fan introduced. When Chu Yunyu heard this, the smile on her pretty face widened. "Hello, my name is Chu Yunyu," Chu Yunyu said happily. President Chu, you're so beautiful, Lin Xiaoyao could not help but praise. Any woman would like to hear compliments from others, and Chu Yunyu was no exception. Thank you for your praise, Lil Yao, you're very cute too. In the future you'll definitely be more beautiful than me. Also, it's too formal to call me president, just call me Sister Chu. Yes, yes, Lin Xiaoyao nodded vigorously. After chatting for a while, the few of them became quite familiar with each other. Lin Xiaoyao finally revealed the purpose of her trip. Sister Chu, we want to buy some flower stem essence. Do you still have it in stock? Lin Xiaoyao asked with anticipation. When Chu Yunyu heard this, she could not help but look at Lin Fan strangely. It was as if she was saying, you brought your sister here to buy essence. That was because flower stem essence was blended with Lin Fan's beauty water. It was just that they had added some other spices. Lin Fan shrugged his shoulders helplessly. Lin Xiaoyan saw that Chu Yunyu did not say anything and could not help but droop her head. She said pitifully, is there no more stock? We still have a lot of stock, Chu Yunyu smiled. Let's go, I'll bring you over today, you can take as much as you want. Really, that's great, Lin Xiaoyao jumped up in joy. Du Yujia's and Tang Jiao's eyes also lit up with excitement. Then they went straight to the product department under Chu Yunyu's lead. There were many boxes here, and each box was filled with flower stem essence. Lin Xiaoyao could not help but swallow her saliva and say, Sister Chu, can we really take anything we want? Of course there's a bag over there, said Chu Yunyu. Then Lin Xiaoyao looked at Lin Fan. Lin Fan smiled and said, go get it. Then we won't stand on ceremony, Lin Xiaoyao said. Thus, Lin Xiaoyao, Du Yujia and Tang Jiao filled a large bag with different types of flower stems essence products. They were almost unable to carry the bags and they left the product department satisfied. Everyone chatted for a while. Lin Fan saw that it was getting late, so he brought Lin Xiaoyao, Du Yujia and Tang Jiao out of Feiyang building under the watchful eyes of Chu Yunyu and the staff of Flower Stem. Lin Xiaoyao, Du Yujia and Tang Jiao were sitting in the Mercedes-Benz G-Class, looking at their big bags of Flower Stem's essence products in their hands. Their faces were still full of smiles. Flower Stem's essence products were something they had always wanted but could not get. Now that they had gotten so many bottles of it, their wish could be considered to have been fulfilled. If other people knew that they had so many bottles of flower stem essence, they would definitely be so envious that they would drool. The more they thought about it, the happier the three of them were. By the way, brother, how do you know Sister Chu? Lin Xiaoyao asked. Moreover, she actually gave us so many bottles of flower stem essence. Lin Fan said, oh, I met her at a perfume exhibition. As for why she gave you so many bottles of flower stem essence, because I'm the biggest shareholder of flower stem. Silence. In the Mercedes-Benz, even the air suddenly became quiet. Lin Xiaoyao, Du Yujia and Tang Jiao were all stunned. After a long time, Lin Xiaoyao finally cleared her throat and said, brother, you just said what? We met at a perfume exhibition, Lin Fan said. The next sentence, Lin Xiaoyao said. As for why she gave you so many bottles of flower stem essence, Lin Fan said. The next sentence, Lin Xiaoyao said. Probably because I'm the biggest shareholder of flower stem, Lin Fan said. Ah, heavens, my brother is the biggest shareholder of flower stem. Flower stem belongs to our family. I'll have an endless supply of flower stem essence in the future. Lin Xiaoyao shouted excitedly. Then she hugged Lin Fan's neck and shouted, brother, I love you so much. Lin Fan coughed and reminded, we're siblings. Du Yujia and Tang Jiao looked at Lin Fan with bright eyes. At Lin Xiaoyao's request, everyone ate seafood together. When they walked out of the restaurant, everyone looked satisfied. This place is still the best. At this moment, Lin Xiaoyao saw the long line for the Cha Yue shop across the road. She sighed and said, Cha Yue finally opened a shop in Jiangbei this year. Why are there so many people? From my visit to Jiangbei this time, I got a Gucci bag and flower stem essence. If I can have a cup of milk tea, it would be perfect. Then let's drink it, Lin Fan said. There are too many people, it'll take at least 1 to 2 hours to get the milk tea. Our train leaves in an hour, Lin Xiaoyao said. Lin Fan said, it's okay, I'll make an order on my phone, it'll be delivered very soon. Order it on your phone, Lin Xiaoyao asked. Isn't Cha Yue against delivery? Lin Fan acted as if he did not hear her. He took out his phone and dialed the number of the chairman of Cha Yue, Fang Liang. Yesterday, after Lin Fan obtained 51% of Cha Yue's shares, Fang Liang took the initiative to call him. It was convenient to contact him now. Jia City, Cha Yue's headquarters. Fang Liang was holding a high-level meeting with many general managers and directors. The atmosphere was very serious and intense. At this moment, Fang Liang's phone rang. He frowned and raised his hand to reject the call. However, when he saw the caller ID, his expression turned solemn. He quickly stood up straight and said in an extremely respectful tone, "Hello, Mr. Lin." The meeting room suddenly fell silent. All the executives stopped their discussion and looked at Chairman Fang Liang in surprise. Many of them had worked under Fang Liang for more than 10 years. However, when had they ever seen Fang Liang so serious when answering a phone call? Why was his tone so respectful? Mr. Lin. A man surnamed Lin. Could it be, was he the most mysterious major shareholder in Cha Yue? At the thought of this, all the executives held their breaths. At this moment, Lin Fan's voice came from the phone. I'm at Cha Yue Milk Tea in Jiangbei City, but there are a lot of people here. Can you get someone to send me a few cups of milk tea? All right, Mr. Lin, I'll get someone to send them to you now, Fang Liang said. That's all for now, Lin Fan said. Goodbye, Mr. Lin, Fang Liang said. He wanted to drink a few cups of milk tea and called me for it. Such a small matter. However, Fang Liang was not angry at all. On the contrary, his face was full of smiles. Lin Xiaoyao saw that Lin Fan had hung up the call and could not help but ask, "Brother, who did you call?" "Oh, it's the chairman of Cha Yue," Lin Fan shook his head. Lin Xiaoyao, Du Yujia and Tang Jiao were all stunned. At this moment, 3 Cha Yue shop assistants walked over with more than 10 different kinds of Cha Yue tea. Are you Mr. Lin? The shop assistant standing at the front asked softly. It's me, Lin Fan said. Hello, these are the cups of milk tea that our chairman asked us to send over, the shop assistant said. All right, thank you, Lin Fan replied. Lil Yao, Yujia, Tang Jiao, you guys help carry them. I can't carry them all. All right, the 3 of them responded. Lin Xiaoyao, Du Yujia, and Tang Jiao slowly came back to their senses after the shop assistants left. Brother, how did you meet the chairman of Cha Yue? Lin Xiaoyao stammered. I haven't seen him, Lin Fan said. Lin Xiaoyao heaved a sigh of relief. But I'm the biggest shareholder of Cha Yue, Lin Fan said. Silence. The entire scene fell silent again. The mouths of Lin Xiaoyao, Du Yujia, and Tang Jiao were agape again. He was a shareholder of Gucci, a shareholder of Flower Stem, and now a shareholder of Cha Yue. In addition, he also owned more than 10 large villas. Everything that they had experienced today kept rippling in their little minds. It was too shocking. Lin Fan did not care much. He looked at his watch and said, "It's about time, let's go, I'll send you to East Station." After the 3 of them got into the Mercedes-Benz G-Class, he stepped on the accelerator and sped forward. Not long after, the crowded Jiangbei East Station appeared in their sights. At this moment, Lin Xiaoyao and the other 2 finally recovered from their shock. Lin Fan pinched Lin Xiaoyao's cheeks and said, "Be careful on the way back." All right, Lin Xiaoyao replied. Eat more, you can't be too skinny or you might die from complications, Lin Fan said. Brother, Lin Xiaoyao protested. Lin Fan watched Lin Xiaoyao and the other 2 enter the station before turning around to leave. In the waiting room. Xiaoyao, did you say your brother's single? Du Yujia asked. Tang Jiao's ears perked up. A handsome rich man who was full of charm. How could Lin Xiaoyao not understand what they were thinking? At this moment she laughed and said, I was just saying it casually, haha, did you really believe it? Want to F***ck my brother. You guys are still laughing. The next day, Lin Fan went to the classroom as usual. When the bell rang, he vaguely felt that the atmosphere in the classroom today seemed to be different from usual. What happened today? Lin Fan asked. Nothing much, Ma Zhang was puzzled. I know what Brother Lin Fan is talking about, Song Yi said. It's Pan Chen, that guy is now the most unpopular person in the class. Zheng Jinbao said he deserves it. He sold all of us out in order to please Gao Zhenbo. He's completely a villain who fawns over the powerful. That's right, Song Yi said. Also, I heard that Gao Zhenbo's family seems to have gone bankrupt. Pan Chen is hated by everyone in class now. He can't even kiss SS anymore. I'm dying of laughter. I feel good just talking about this. This is what it's meant by the heavens will punish the wicked, Zhang Jinbao said happily. Lin Fan could not help but reveal a look of realization. In the past, during class, Pan Chen would sit in the first row and tell the students to stand up. It seemed that he did not hear it today. Then Lin Fan looked at the first row, but Pan Chen was nowhere to be seen. When Lin Fan turned around, he realized that Pan Chen was sitting alone in a corner. He looked extremely lonely. Regarding this, Lin Fan had no sympathy at all. Since he had chosen to do something, he had to take responsibility for his actions. After all, they were all adults. For the next few days, Lin Fan ate, slept, and attended classes. It was very relaxing and comfortable. The sign-in and red packets were all cash, so they did not bring Lin Fan any joy at all. Even though his total funds had already reached 4.586 billion. On the 25th floor of a residential building in Yiqi City. As it was close to the end of the year, Huang Ling's family's shop became busy. Therefore, she went home to help 2 days ago. At this moment, there were only Lin Fan and Qiu Ziqian in the 178 square meter house. Lin Fan sat in front of the dining table and tasted the delicacies that Qiu Ziqian had personally cooked. His face was filled with enjoyment. After eating their fill, Lin Fan and Qiu Ziqian hugged each other and watched a TV show leisurely. Honey, do you want some candy? Qiu Ziqian asked with a smile. It's imported. Imported? Was that necessary to say? However, Lin Fan still replied, okay. Then, Qiu Ziqian put the candy into her mouth and leaned her head in front of Lin Fan. Oh. A few minutes later, Qiu Ziqian slowly turned her head away. Lin Fan felt the sweetness in his mouth and smiled. This imported candy is indeed delicious. How about another one? Oh. The night gradually deepened. The entire residential building started to shake. The next day, when Lin Fan woke up, Qiu Ziqian was no longer by his side. He picked up his phone out of habit, and a text message had already appeared on the screen. Notice from Merchant Bank, 3,630,000 yuan was deposited into your account. Lin Fan muttered in his heart, let's see what I can get by signing in today. I hope it's not 10 million again. Sign in. Ding, congratulations, you've obtained the Imperial Hotel. Seeing this, Lin Fan's eyes lit up. One had to know. The Imperial Hotel was a super luxurious 5-star hotel that was only completed last year and successfully opened this year. There was no 6-star hotel in Hua Nation. Otherwise, the Imperial Hotel would be a 6-star hotel. Lin Fan could still clearly remember the scene of countless news reports when the Imperial Hotel first opened. After that, it became a landmark that could be compared to ancient buildings and long bridges. Now this landmark building belonged to him. Looks like my luck today is pretty good. At this moment, Lin Fan's phone rang. Is this Mr. Lin? A low voice came from the phone. It's me, who are you? Lin Fan asked curiously. Hello, Mr. Lin, I'm the general manager of the Imperial Hotel, Wang Fengyi. The voice on the phone immediately became extremely respectful. Oh, Manager Wang, hello, Lin Fan said. Mr. Lin, your words are really frustrating. You can just call me Lil Wang, Wang Fengyi hurriedly said. You're managing the hotel well, you deserve to be called Manager Wang, Lin Fan smiled. Thank you for your compliment, Mr. Lin, thank you, Wang Fengyi was flattered. After some small talk, Wang Fengyi revealed the reason for his call. It turned out that he wanted to invite Lin Fan to the hotel to guide him. Guidance. In reality, he just wanted to show off in front of Lin Fan. However, Lin Fan was not interested at all. He rejected him directly. Thus, the two of them chatted for a while more before hanging up. At this moment, there were many delicacies on the dining table, such as vegetables and lean meat noodles, fried dumplings, soy milk, and so on. Yes, it smells so good, Lin Fan praised. Eat more if it smells good, Kyuzikian smiled. Lin Fan nodded his head and started eating. Darling, are you free later? Kyuzikian asked after she had her fill. I'm free, Lin Fan said. Then can you accompany me to go shopping? Kyuzikian said expectantly. Lin Fan smiled, of course. Today Lin Fan did not drive. Instead, he sat in Kyuzikian's Mini Cooper. Sitting in the Mini Cooper, he smelled the faint fragrance of the car and kept moving forward under the warm sunlight. Not long after, they arrived at the nearest SK Mall. Since it was the weekend, SK Mall was holding an event that attracted many people to shop. It was very lively. Kyuzikian. Just as Lin Fan and Kyuzikian were about to walk in, a surprised voice sounded from afar. Kyuzikian turned around and looked into the distance. A woman with an oval face and a sparkling gemstone necklace was walking over. Kyuzikian was a little uncertain. Liu Silu. Zikian, it really is you. I almost thought I had the wrong person. It's been 2 years since we graduated from university, right? Liu Silu said happily. Yeah, Kyuzikian said happily. By the way, if I remember correctly, you were accepted by Zia Airlines at that time. How is it? Are you still a flight attendant? Liu Silu asked. I'm not a flight attendant anymore, Kyuzikian shook her head. Liu Silu seemed a little disappointed. However, she still said, that's fine, what's so good about being a flight attendant? They're just waitresses on the plane. Every time my husband and I sit in first class, those flight attendants want to kneel on the ground to serve us. They're really too humble. The smile on Kyuzikian's face froze. What did Liu Silu mean? A flight attendant was a waitress. In the first-class cabin, they could not wait to kneel down and serve customers. Kyuzikian used to be a flight attendant, so it was clear she was being insulted. Liu Siki did not seem to notice the change in Kyuzikian's expression and continued to say, I didn't choose to apply for Zia Airlines because I knew about the nature of flight attendants. What do you mean by you didn't apply to Zia Airlines because you knew the nature of flight attendants? Who was the one who bribed the interviewer back then and ended up being reported, which is why they weren't successfully accepted by Zia Airlines? Initially, Kyuzikian was happy because it was a former classmate she had not seen for 2 years. Therefore, even if they were not good friends in the past, she still wanted to have a friendly exchange. Now it seemed like there was no need for that. She treated her as a classmate, but she just wanted to show off. Liu Siki said apologetically, oh, sorry, I definitely didn't mean to criticize you. After all, you're not a flight attendant anymore. You shouldn't mind, right? Kyuzikian did not reply. At this moment, Liu Siki finally noticed Lin Fan, who was beside Kyuzikian. She asked, oh right, this is. Oh, I'm Zikian's boyfriend Lin Fan replied. Zikian, congratulations on ending your singlehood, Liu Siki praised. Lin Fan was just too handsome. She thought of her fierce-looking husband and could not help but feel jealous. Speaking of Lin Fan, a sweet smile appeared on Kyuzikian's face. Thank you. She felt that the happiest thing in her life was meeting Lin Fan. Liu Siki looked at Kyuzikian's happy face and felt a wave of displeasure. She asked, Lin Fan, right, what do you do for a living? For the time being, I'm a student at Jiangbei University, Lin Fan said. Liu Siki almost laughed out loud. She was laughing at Kyuzikian for finding a student boyfriend. Yes. Lin Fan was handsome. However, what was the use of being handsome? Could being handsome put food on the table? He just had to live a bitter life every day. Liu Siki held back her laughter and said, Zikian, I'm so envious of you. You found a university student as your boyfriend. In that case, he must have a lot of time to spend with you, right? The two of you must be very happy. Sai, unlike me, I found a husband who runs a company. Let alone accompany me, he's busy outside every day. Sometimes I don't see him even once in half a month. Liu Siki looked helpless and continued, just like today. He said he wanted to accompany me, but in the end, the chairman of Yinshin Group and the chairman of Xiao Wu Wholesale City both said they wanted to treat my husband to a meal. You guys should have heard of Yinshin Group and Xiao Wu Wholesale City, right? These are two big companies with a market value of tens of billions. The chairman for these two companies can be said to be my husband's seniors. They keep wanting to treat my husband to a meal and my husband couldn't reject them at all. Besides, he can't really let them treat him to a meal. After all, they're both big seniors. So my husband wants to book a floor at the Imperial Hotel and treat them to a meal instead. Liu Siki spoke with confidence as if everything was the truth. In reality, how could the chairman of Yinshin Group and the chairman of Xiao Wu Wholesale City take the initiative to treat her husband to a meal? It was her husband who had been spending a lot of effort to treat the boss of Yinshin Group and Xiao Wu Wholesale City to a meal. However, Liu Siki was not worried about being seen through. She firmly believed that Qiu Ziqian and Lin Fan would never have any dealings with the chairman of Yinshin Group and Xiao Wu Wholesale City. Liu Siki said, "My husband and I are always away. We're not familiar with the Imperial Hotel at all. We're struggling a little to book the Imperial Hotel." "Oh right, Ziqian, Lin Fan, you two have been in Jiangbei, right? Do you know anyone in the Imperial Hotel? Can you help us book a floor?" Liu Siki had only said this casually. A student and a young woman, how could they possibly know someone from the Imperial Hotel? It was just a joke. In fact, her husband had never even thought of booking a floor of the Imperial Hotel. That was the Imperial Hotel. It would probably cost hundreds of thousands to cover one floor. Were they crazy? Her purpose was to show off her husband's strength. At this moment, Lin Fan smiled and said, "The Imperial Hotel, I do know someone I should be able to help you." Then Lin Fan picked up his phone and dialed the number of the general manager of the Imperial Hotel, Wang Fengyi. The call went through very quickly. "Hello, Mr. Lin," Wang Fengyi said excitedly. Lin Fan said, "Manager Wang, someone wants to book a floor at the Imperial Hotel. Is that possible?" "Most of the halls in our hotel have been reserved," said Wang Fengyi. "If they want to book a floor, they can choose our top floor luxury hall." Lin Fan nodded. "All right, as long as it's possible, you can contact them directly later. They don't lack money." "Yes," Wang Fengyi replied. For Wang Fengyi to be able to become the general manager of the Imperial Hotel, he could be said to be the smartest among the smartest. How could he not understand what Lin Fan was saying? Then he directly dialed the number Lin Fan sent him. "Eh? Lin Fan, who did you send my husband's number to?" Liu Siki asked curiously. "I sent it to the general manager of the Imperial Hotel. He said that he can book a luxury hall for you," Lin Fan said. "Is that so?" Liu Siki almost laughed out loud. The general manager of the Imperial Hotel, a luxurious room on the top floor. Lin Fan was a student. She was about to laugh to death. Lin Fan said, "Oh right, you and your husband. It seems that you guys don't want to eat with the chairman of Yinshin Group and the chairman of Xiao Wu Wholesale City. In that case, you shouldn't have to. You just said that your husband's name is Chen Kai, right?" Then Lin Fan picked up his phone and dialed the number of the chairman of Xiao Wu Wholesale City, Zhang Zhou. As soon as the call connected, Zhang Zhou's extremely respectful voice sounded from the other end. "Hello, Mr. Lin. Zhang Zhou, are you going to have dinner with someone called Chen Kai?" Lin Fan asked. "He did ask me out a few times, but I haven't agreed yet," Zhang Zhou said carefully. Even though Zhang Zhou was a shrewd person, facing Lin Fan's sudden question, he had to answer carefully. "It's fine even if you don't agree in the future. He wants to have dinner with his wife," Lin Fan said. "Got it," Zhang Zhou replied respectfully. Then Lin Fan dialed the number of the chairman of Yinshin Group, Song Zhaifeng. "Hello, Mr. Lin. Song Zhaifeng, are you having dinner with Chen Kai?" Lin Fan asked. "Yes, he made a reservation at a restaurant tonight," Song Zhaifeng answered truthfully. "Just reject it also. Don't eat with him in the future, he wants to accompany his wife," Lin Fan said. "All right," Song Zhaifeng quickly responded. 199 What did you do? Apologize. Liu Siki looked at Lin Fan's serious face as he made the calls. He kept telling them not to eat with Chen Kai. She almost laughed out loud. At that moment, she saw Lin Fan hang up the call and could not help but ask, "Lin Fan, who were you on the phone with just now?" "Oh, didn't you say that your husband is very busy?" Lin Fan said calmly. "He doesn't have time to accompany you, right?" "I called the chairman of Yinshin Group and the chairman of Xiao Wu Wholesale City and told them not to have dinner with your husband." "I have it." Liu Siki held her stomach and laughed so hard that she almost cried. Lin Fan. First, he called the general manager of the Imperial Hotel and asked him to book a hall there for her husband. Then he called the chairman of Yinshin Group and the chairman of Xiao Wu Wholesale City and told them not to have dinner with her husband. Who did he think he was? He was just an ordinary student. How could he have the phone numbers of these big shots? Would these big shots listen to him? What a joke. Liu Siki was laughing as she said, "Q Zikian, it's not that I want to laugh, it's just that your boyfriend is too funny. Oh, I can't take it anymore. My stomach hurts from laughing." Q Zikian did not reply, she just looked at Lin Fan with admiration. It was because she knew this was definitely not a joke. At this moment Liu Siki's phone rang. She was laughing so hard that her hands were trembling. She picked up her phone and looked at the incoming call notification. It was her husband, Chen Kai. "Hello, hubby," Liu Siki laughed. "Liu Siki, what the hell are you doing?" Chen Kai's stern voice came from the phone. This roar shocked Liu Siki so much that her entire body trembled. She stammered, What am I doing?" "The general manager of the Imperial Hotel just called and said that you booked an entire floor for me. When did I ask you to book it?" Chen Kai shouted. "What I Liu Siki was completely dumbfounded. "Do you know how much it costs to book an entire floor of the luxurious hall? 1.5 million, are you crazy?" Chen Kai shouted. "Hubby, I thought it was a joke," Liu Siki panicked. "Are you kidding me? You thought it was a F***C King joke and I have to spend 1.5 million? Don't do such a stupid thing again," Chen Kai shouted and hung up the call. Liu Siki was still in a daze when she heard the busy tone on the phone. He had spent 1.5 million yuan to book an entire floor of the luxurious hotel. This. Then Liu Siki turned to look at Lin Fan. It was him. It was him. He had really called the general manager of the Imperial Hotel just now. He was not joking. If that was the case, then did he really call the chairman of Yinshin Group and Xiao Wu Wholesale City just now? If this was true, then... Liu Siki's face turned pale instantly. A bad premonition surged into her heart like a tidal wave. At this moment Liu Siki's phone rang again. The ringing of the bell was like the roar of a malicious spirit, causing her to tremble in fear. Then Liu Siki picked up her phone shakily. When she saw that the caller ID was her husband, Chen Kai, her entire body trembled even more. "Liu Siki, what the hell did you do? Do you know how much effort I've put in to build a relationship with the chairman of the Yinshin Group and the chairman of Xiao Wu Wholesale City? Do you know how much I paid to invite them to dinner? It's all ruined now. Do you know how much I've lost?" As soon as the call connected, Chen Kai's roar came from the other end. "Hubby, what happened?" Liu Siki said guiltily. "Eh? What happened? Good, let me tell you. Just now the chairman of Yinshin Group and the chairman of Xiao Wu Wholesale City called me and told me that because I have to accompany my wife, they won't be eating with me anymore." Chen Kai shouted. "Liu Siki, why are you so shameless? Damn it, tell me, have I not accompanied you enough? Let me tell you, I've had enough. If you don't change the minds of the two chairmen, you can just get lost." Chen Kai hung up the phone after shouting. These words were like thunder on a sunny day, echoing in Liu Siki's ears. She was so scared that her fingers were weak. If she was not careful, her phone would fall to the ground. It was the sound of her phone falling that finally brought Liu Siki back to her senses. She quickly turned to look at Lin Fan and bowed. "I'm sorry, it was my fault just now. It was my fault, to please let me go. I'm sorry. At this moment, no matter how stupid she was, she knew that Lin Fan was definitely not an ordinary student. He was a true big shot. "Eh?" Lin Fan said calmly, "What do you mean by this? Didn't I help you book the hotel as you said?" Then, I told the chairman of Yinshan Group and the chairman of Xiao Wu Wholesale City not to have dinner with your husband. You don't have to be so polite, after all you're Zikian's classmate. How could Liu Siki not understand what Lin Fan meant? She bent her legs and knelt in front of Qiu Ziqian. Ziqian, it was my fault just now, I'm sorry, I shouldn't have spoken nonsense. I beg of you, please forgive me this time on account of us being classmates. She lowered her head and clenched her fists, her face was filled with resentment and anger. There was no doubt that Liu Siki would definitely take revenge for today if she had the chance in the future. Liu Siki's sudden kneeling shocked Qiu Ziqian. Qiu Ziqian did not notice the change in Liu Siki's expression and actions. As a result, she did not know what to do. Hence, Qiu Ziqian looked at Lin Fan and asked for his opinion. Liu Siki's actions were hidden from Qiu Ziqian, but how could she hide from Lin Fan? Lin Fan held Qiu Ziqian's slender waist and said, "Let's go, it's better to teach some people a lesson." Qiu Ziqian immediately understood what Lin Fan was thinking. Even if she forgave some people, they probably would not have any regrets. After entering the SK Mall, Qiu Ziqian looked at Lin Fan with a puzzled gaze. It was as if she was asking, how do you know so many chairmen, moreover you can directly request them? Lin Fan easily understood her thoughts. He rubbed his nose and said, you should know that I own 51% of the shares of Xiao Wu Wholesale City. Also, I've bought 51% of Yinshan Group shares. As for the Imperial Hotel, it belongs to me completely. Silence. The surrounding air seemed to have quietened down. Qiu Ziqian could not help but gape, unable to close her mouth for a long time. 200 move the car, reward. Lin Fan and Qiu Ziqian strolled around SK Mall. They passed by many women's clothing stores and only glanced at the entrance a few times. They never entered. Nothing caught your eye? Lin Fan asked curiously. Qiu Ziqian nodded. There used to be a Chanel shop in SK Mall, why is it suddenly gone? Chanel. Lin Fan remembered that he had seen this shop when he went to the shopping mall with Lin Xiaoyao and the others. I think they're Chanel and KM Mall, Lin Fan said. Then the two of them went downstairs and headed to KM Mall. When they arrived at SK Mall, Qiu Ziqian spent a lot of effort parking the car. In order to avoid trouble, Lin Fan drove the Mini Cooper this time. On weekends, KM Mall was even more crowded and lively than SK Mall. There were basically no extra parking spaces. Lin Fan drove around the underground parking lot for a while and saw an empty spot beside the elevator. Without any hesitation, he turned the steering wheel and smoothly parked the car. Honk honk. At this moment, a white Mercedes-Benz drove over and honked at Lin Fan and Qiu Ziqian. The underground parking lot was enclosed, and the sound of car horns was loud. Lin Fan frowned. However, he did not pay too much attention to it. He held Qiu Ziqian's hand and prepared to leave. Bang! At this moment, the door of the Mercedes-Benz suddenly opened, and a woman in high heels got out. I honked for a long time, didn't you hear? Are you deaf? Lin Fan's face darkened. What's with the way you talk? What's wrong with the way I talk? Didn't you see the picture in this parking space? This is my parking space. I honked for a long time, but you ignored me. Hurry up and move the car away, the woman in high heels shouted. Lin Fan and Qiu Ziqian glanced at the floor of the parking space. Indeed, there was a picture. Ordinary people could see this picture through the camera footage when revering. However, Lin Fan had professional driving skills. Why would he need to look at the camera when parking? With a simple turn of the steering wheel, he could park perfectly in the parking space. Therefore, he did not notice the picture in the parking space. If this woman had spoken to him nicely, Lin Fan might have given up the parking space. However, at this moment, he did not have such thoughts. Lin Fan said, there are no parking spaces for rent or sale in KM Mall. Do you think that just by drawing a picture you can claim a parking space? What a joke, I won't move my car today, let's see what you can do. When the high-heeled woman heard this, she was furious and shouted, what I'll do, good, when I call security I'll see if you still dare to say this. At this moment, a middle-aged man in a suit walked over. The woman in high heels saw this and said happily, "Third uncle, you came at the right time. This person is occupying my parking space. Hurry up and call security to chase him away." The man in the suit looked in the direction the woman in high heels was pointing at and immediately became serious. The man in a suit was a senior executive at KM Mall. A few days ago, he was standing at the door with the general manager, Yuan Hong, and the others to send Lin Fan off. After that, he asked around and found out that Lin Fan was the real owner of the mall. Therefore, the man in the suit had been looking for an opportunity to please Lin Fan. However, he did not even have the chance to meet him, let alone fawn over him. Today they finally met. Lin Fan said calmly, "Really? Then I'll wait for the security guards to chase me away." The man in the suit recognized Lin Fan. With Lin Fan's scanning ability, he naturally recognized him. However, Lin Fan did not mind at all. "Do you think I'm joking? You'll cry later." The high-heeled woman was already used to being arrogant. At this moment, when she saw that her third uncle was here, she was even more fearless. "Chase Lin Fan away. Make Lin Fan cry." The man in the suit's face turned pale and his body trembled. "Third uncle, what's wrong? Quickly call the security guards over. This kind of person should be taught well." "Shut up." The high-heeled woman spoke again, but before she could finish, the man in the suit interrupted her. At the same time, he raised his hand and slapped her face. A crisp sound echoed in the underground parking lot. This slap stunned the high-heeled woman. Then the man in the suit ignored her. "Eh?" He quickly bent down and said in a panicked voice, Mr. Lin, I'm sorry, I didn't discipline her well." "Mr. Lin," a surprised voice sounded from afar. General Manager Yuan Hong, who was wearing a white shirt, hurried over. "Hello, Mr. Lin." Lin Fan glanced at Yuan Hong and pointed at the camera not far away. "You'll know what happened when you look at the surveillance footage later. I'll leave it all to you to handle." Yuan Hong could easily hear the unhappiness in Lin Fan's tone. His heart tightened and he quickly said, "Don't worry, Mr. Lin, I'll take care of everything." Lin Fan nodded his head casually. Then, he held Qiu Ziqian's waist and strode into the elevator. After Lin Fan left, Yuan Hong's face darkened. He looked at the man in the suit with an extremely cold gaze. The man in the suit trembled and stuttered, General Manager, let me explain." "You don't have to explain, I'll look at the surveillance footage myself," Yuan Hong said coldly. At this moment, Lin Fan and Qiu Ziqian arrived on the fourth floor. Qiu Ziqian looked at Lin Fan in confusion. It was as if she was saying, "Why were those people so afraid of you?" Lin Fan seemed to have sensed Qiu Ziqian's doubts and said, "I'm the owner of KM Mall." Silence. Qiu Ziqian felt that the surroundings were suddenly silent. The first time she saw Lin Fan, Qiu Ziqian knew that Lin Fan was very impressive. Therefore, she tried her best to guess Lin Fan's family background and chose to follow him. Until now, Qiu Ziqian realized that she had underestimated Lin Fan. He was the owner of the Imperial Hotel, had 5% of LV's shares, 51% of Yinshan Group's shares, 51% of Xiao Wu Wholesale City's shares, and was the owner of KM Mall. At this moment, the two of them had already arrived in front of Chanel's clothing store. "Ziqian, what clothes do you want?" Lin Fan asked. Qiu Ziqian finally came back to her senses. It had to be said that Chanel was indeed an internationally renowned brand. Whether it was the style or the workmanship, everything was very good. Coupled with Qiu Ziqian's perfect figure, her overall appearance made Lin Fan admire her. Hence, Lin Fan specially bought more than 10 different designs. On the 25th floor of a residential building in Yiqi City, Qiu Ziqian looked at the new clothes in her wardrobe, and her pretty face slowly became sweet. "Darling, thank you." Lin Fan chuckled, "How do you want to thank me?" "Darling." "How do you want me to thank you?" Qiu Ziqian pretended not to understand. "The imported candy from last time was pretty good. Let's have another one," Lin Fan said. Qiu Ziqian answered and tore open a candy, putting it into her mouth. Then she moved closer to Lin Fan. "Oh epsilon. 3 epsilon. Letter 2C9, letter 2C9. Today was another. The next day, After Lin Fan had his breakfast, he left for Jiangbei University. Usually at this time, the students on campus would chat and laugh as they walked leisurely. Today, all the students were holding books, paper, and pens in their hands. They were in a hurry on the wide road. This was because today was the day of the students' final exams. This exam would not determine a promotion or a raise. However, they would decide whether they would have to take the exam again next year. In the classroom, the students were separated and sat down. They looked ahead as if they were facing a great enemy. Lin Fan, on the other hand, was extremely relaxed. In fact, he was even yawning out of boredom. At this moment, the bell rang. The old professor slowly walked in with a bag of test papers and distributed them to the students. This was an advanced math paper. Many students started scratching their ears and cheeks when they saw the questions, not knowing where to start. Advanced math was like this. Either one knew how to answer the questions or one could not understand the questions at all. Obviously, Lin Fan belonged to the former. In Lin Fan's eyes, the questions in the paper before him were as simple as 1 + 1 = 2. Initially, Lin Fan wanted to finish all the questions. After all, as a student, he should do what a student should do. However, Lin Fan did not sleep the entire night, and the questions were too simple. He had only finished 2 questions when his eyelids suddenly closed and he fell asleep on the table. He even started snoring. Seeing this, the old professor standing on the podium could not help but praise in his heart, as expected of a good student who can solve Zhou's conjecture, the twin prime number conjecture, and summarize economic theorem. Last night he must have been seriously studying advanced mathematics again. I can't let him catch a cold. Then the old professor took off his coat and carefully covered Lin Fan. He reminded the examinees in a low voice, "Don't make any noise." When the bell rang, Lin Fan finally opened his eyes. At this moment, he realized that the old professor had already taken the test paper away. Songya praised, "Brother Lin Fan, you're really awesome. You solved all the difficult questions in 40 minutes. Then you went straight to sleep. I've only seen this kind of situation on TV and in novels. I didn't expect to encounter it today." 40 minutes? I think Brother Lin Fan finished it in less than half an hour. One word, awesome, Zhang Jinbao corrected. "Brother Lin Fan, how did you do the second last question? Do you still remember the answer?" Ma Zhang asked. "What 40 minutes? What half an hour? What second last question?" Lin Fan blinked his eyes and said, "I was too sleepy. I only did 2 questions and fell asleep." Songyu was speechless. Zhang Jinbao was speechless. Ma Zhang was speechless. The 3 people were stunned. After lunch, Lin Fan leisurely returned to his dorm. At this moment, Lin Fan's phone vibrated. It was 12 p.m. The red packets were here. "Ding, congratulations, you've received 5 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 19,999 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 10 yuan. Ding, congratulations, you've received 99 yuan. Lin Fan received a total of 59,211 yuan from today's red packets. Lin Fan muttered in his heart, "These useless things again. I hope that signing in will bring some surprises." Sign in. Ding, congratulations, you've obtained professional level violin technique. Professional level violin technique brings an extraordinary sense of enjoyment and amazing charm. Seeing this, Lin Fan muttered to himself, "Last time I got professional cello skills, now I can play the violin, they're a pair not bad." The next 2 days were spent doing exams. During the examination, some students sighed and some students regretted it. However, when the exams were over, all the students' faces were replaced with happy smiles. After all, they could pack their luggage and go home for a relaxing winter vacation. At this moment, in the mathematics department's conference room, the professors and leaders of the mathematics department were gathered together. Hu Chuan, who was sitting at the head of the table, first swept his gaze across the crowd, then cleared his throat and said, "This year not only did our mathematics department win the Higher Education Cup in the National Mathematical Modeling Competition, but we also successfully held an international mathematics report because our students solved Zhou's conjecture. Moreover, he also solved the twin prime number conjecture. In one fell swoop, Jiangbei University will become famous in Hua Nation and even in the entire world. This year is a year worth celebrating. Immediately, the entire conference room was filled with a round of applause. Everyone was also very satisfied with this year. This was because what happened this year not only made them feel proud, but also allowed them to receive bonuses that far exceeded what they had received before. They understood that all of this was because of Lin Fan. After the applause, someone said in a low voice, "Today is the start of winter break. Lin Fan won't be in our school next year, right?" The conference room suddenly fell silent. That was right. What if Lin Fan did not come to their school next year? One had to know. With Lin Fan's current status, if he wanted to go to any school in the world, he would definitely be welcomed. Besides, Lin Fan did not get into the mathematics department of Jiangbei University through the college entrance examination. Instead, he was specially recruited midway. Since he could get into Jiangbei University, it was normal for him to get into other schools. Thinking of this, Hu Chuan's heart tightened. He said, "Lin Fan is a great hero to Jiangbei University, especially our mathematics department. Now that the holidays are coming, I think, as teachers, we should go and send off the hero. What do you think?" Everyone was smart. How could they not understand Hu Chuan's thoughts? This was to make Lin Fan feel a sense of belonging and play the emotional card, so that he would continue to attend classes at Jiangbei University next year. Not bad. I think I have to send Lin Fan off. Lin Fan seems to be from Qing City, right? It's so far away, we have to send him off. In room 104, Lin Fan took out his backpack and prepared to pack his clothes to go home. At this moment, there was the sound of brisk footsteps in the corridor outside. The dean of the mathematics department, the head of the grade, the dean of education, and the others walked in one after another. "Lin Fan, you're packing your luggage. Come, let us help you," Hu Chuan laughed heartily. Then, the dean, the head of the grade, and the others rushed forward to help Lin Fan fold his clothes and blanket as well as wipe his shoes. Seeing this, Song Yi, Ma Zhang, Zheng Jinbao, and the others all opened their mouths wide, their jaws almost dropping to the ground. The dean, leaders, and professors were here to help a student pack up and fold his clothes and blanket. This was completely beyond their understanding. Even though the leaders were not very agile, they had the advantage in numbers. Soon, all the clothes and blankets were folded neatly, and Lin Fan's shoes were wiped clean. Lin Fan was stunned as well. "Dean Hu, what are you doing?" Hu Chuan coughed lightly. "We know that you're going on holiday. As teachers, of course, we came to send you off." The professors, department heads, and the others standing at the side immediately echoed. "Lin Fan, your home is in Qing City, right? It's not safe to go home alone. We've already prepared a car for you. Lin Fan, are you bringing these back?" Then the dean, the directors, the professors, and the others all helped to carry Lin Fan's luggage and led him out. Only Zhang Jinbao, Song Yi, and Ma Zhang were left in the dormitory with blank expressions. The dean and the others knew that Lin Fan was going on vacation, so they came to send him off. Was it because Lin Fan lived in Qing City? They were worried that it would be unsafe for him to go back alone, so they wanted to send Lin Fan home. "We're also on vacation. Teachers, why didn't you come to send us off?" Also, Lin Fan lived in Qing City. Was that considered far? It was only 100 kilometers. They all lived in other provinces that were hundreds and thousands of kilometers away. Were they not alone? Why were the leaders not afraid of something happening to them? Why did the school leaders not send them off? Of course, these words, Zhang Jinbao, Song Yi, and Ma Zhang only said them in their hearts. In the end, they could only sigh. At this moment, Lin Fan was surrounded by the dean and the other department directors as he sat in a luxurious vehicle. In the vehicle, the dean and the other department directors treated Lin Fan with utmost care and concern. About an hour and a half later, the luxury bus arrived at Qing City. When they saw Lin Tao and Dai Weixu, they quickly took out the gifts they had prepared and walked up to them with smiles on their faces. "Are you Lin Fan's parents?" I'm Hu Chuan, the dean of the mathematics department of Jiangbei University. We were worried that Lin Fan might not be safe coming back alone, so we sent him back. By the way, this is a small gift to wish you a happy new year. I'm Ma Cheng, the head of the grade at the mathematics department of Jiangbei University. This is a small gift. I wish you happiness and health. I'm Qin Jia, the head of mathematics at Jiangbei University. I wish you a happy new year. As Lin Tao and Dai Weixu listened to everyone's words and looked at the gifts in their hands, their faces broke into a smile. Thank you everyone, please come in and sit down for tea. One had to know. Jiangbei University was one of the top universities in Hua Nation. If these people were the leaders of Jiangbei University, they were probably professors. Usually they would only see one or two professors on TV or on the news. Today, they had actually seen so many real professors at once. Moreover, they all gave them gifts and wished them well. It was unbelievable. No wonder they were so excited. You guys rest first, I'll go cook now, Dai Weixu said excitedly. Cook? She wanted to make a big table of food for so many people. Would that not be too tiring? Lin Fan said, Mom, you don't have to cook, the school leaders are just sending me back, they'll be leaving soon. School leaders, don't worry, I'll be punctual next year. Lin Fan was not a fool, on the contrary, he was very smart. How could he not understand why the dean and the department directors personally sent him home, gave him gifts, and paid him an early New Year's visit? They were just worried that he would not be going to Jiangbei University next year. In fact, even if they did not do this, Lin Fan would still go to Jiangbei University. This was because Lin Fan had felt very free and relaxed during the past few months at Jiangbei University. He had not experienced university life enough. Sure enough, after the dean, the directors, and the others heard this, their faces all revealed joy. Yes, Lin Fan is right, we're leaving now. There's no need to cook. There's no need to trouble yourself. Clearly, they could tell that Lin Fan did not want them to stay for dinner. They really did not care if they ate or not. However, as long as Lin Fan promised to go to Jiangbei University next year, it was enough. If they stayed for dinner and made Lin Fan unhappy, would they not regret it? Thinking of this, the dean, directors, and the others waved goodbye and quickly got into the bus before fleeing into the distance. Lil Fan, why did you let the dean and the others leave? Dai Weixu asked with some blame. They still have things to do, isn't it better for us to eat together as a family? Mom, I haven't eaten your glutinous rice cake fish for a long time. Did you make it today? Lin Fan asked. Dai Weixu said with a smile, Don't worry, your dad bought the fish early in the morning, it'll be ready very soon. As the sound of vegetables being washed came from the kitchen, smoke began to rise. After a while, delicious food was served one after another. The family was having a meal together. It was extremely warm and relaxed. This meal, Pialfandalfa Nanyua 1, Lin Fan was very satisfied. He lay on the soft sofa and played with his phone leisurely. At this moment, he suddenly realized that the group chat of his high school classmates, which had been silent for a long time since the last class reunion, had suddenly come to life again today. Huang De, our homeroom teacher Li Yang, has a tumor and is currently hospitalized in the Central Hospital of Qing City. Shen Liang, what? The homeroom teacher has a tumor. Yinzik, I hope the homeroom teacher is fine. Zheng Zhu, our homeroom teacher is such a good person, why did he suddenly get a tumor? Li Dasong, are there any of us in Qing City? Why don't we meet up and go visit our homeroom teacher? Huang De, I was just about to say that I'm going to visit the homeroom teacher. Shen Liang, count me in, let's go together. Oh right, when should we meet? Li Dasong, it's better to do it as soon as possible, let's do it today. Wang Heiyaki, although I'm in Jiangbei, my homeroom teacher is sick, I have to come back to see him. Wait a moment, I'll go back now. Zhengzhou, unfortunately. I'm in another province. Li Dasong, it doesn't matter, we can be the representatives. When Lin Fan saw the news, the image of his homeroom teacher Li Yang appeared in his mind. When he was in high school, he would buy breakfast by the roadside. Whenever he met Li Yang, he would pay for it. Lin Fan remembered that Li Yong had given him an umbrella when it suddenly rained. Eh? Although most of them were small matters, they were very heartwarming. The homeroom teacher was sick, so he had to visit him. Lin Fan stood up and walked out. At this moment he remembered that he was sent back by the dean and the others on a bus. He did not have a car. Therefore, he could only wave his hand and call a taxi before heading straight to the central hospital in Qing City. Usually, the pedestrians and vehicles on the streets of Qing City were all very sparse. However, since it was the end of the year, everything was bustling with activity. As far as the eye could see, the entire road was filled with a black mass of people and rows of vehicles. Lin Fan took a taxi, and it took him more than half an hour to reach the hospital. Lin Fan had just gotten out of the taxi when a Toyota Corolla drove over. "You're Lin Fan?" Li Dasong, who was wearing black-rimmed glasses, rolled down the window of the Corolla's driver's seat. Li Dasong, Lin Fan smiled. "Haha, it really is you," Li Dasong said happily. Lin Fan and Li Dasong used to sit in front of each other, so their relationship was pretty good. The two of them were very happy to meet after so many years. Honk honk. At this moment the car behind Li Dasong honked. "Lin Fan, why don't you wait for me in front?" Li Dasong asked. "I'll park the car." "All right," Lin Fan replied. Not long after, Li Dasong walked over. There were two more people beside him, Wang Heiyaki and Shen Liang. "What a coincidence! I just arrived at the parking lot and coincidentally bumped into Wang Heiyaki and Shen Liang," Li Dasong said happily. Lin Fan nodded his head lightly as a form of greeting. Wang Heiyaki's expression was a little unnatural. That was because he had always been on bad terms with Lin Fan. At the last gathering, when Wang Heiyaki found out that Lin Fan only had a few thousand yuan a month, he was very happy and could not stop mocking him. However, he later found out that Lin Fan had a Lamborghini and was wearing a Vacheron Constantin Tour de l'Isle. This made Wang Heiyaki very jealous and unhappy. Li Dasong did not know about this at all. He said, "Lin Fan, you came because you saw the messages in the group, right?" "Yes," Lin Fan said. Li Dasong put his hand on Lin Fan's shoulder and said, "Say, since you're here to see the homeroom teacher, why didn't you tell us in the group? Why waste money on a taxi? I could have brought you here directly." "Take a taxi." Wang Heiyaki was slightly stunned. Where was Lin Fan's Lamborghini? Why did he take a taxi? "Qing City is only so big," Lin Fan said casually. "It's convenient to take a taxi." "Where's Qin Yuxuan?" Shen Liang asked. "Didn't she come with you?" Lin Fan shook his head. "No. Qin Yuxuan was not with Lin Fan." Wang Heiyaki was even more confused. Last time, did Lin Fan not drive Qin Yuxuan home in his Lamborghini? It was such a good opportunity. Lin Fan should be able to win Qin Yuxuan's heart easily. Lamborghini. Taxi. Pialfandalfa Ninua 1 SOM Qin Yuxuan did not come. Wang Heiyaki connected these three things together. He quickly lowered his head to look at Lin Fan's wrist, but he did not see the Vacheron Constantin's Tour de l'Isle. Instantly, Wang Heiyaki had a guess in his heart. Could it be that Lin Fan had no money? The Lamborghini and the Vacheron Constantin Tour de l'Isle were not actually his. That day, after he sent Qin Yuxuan home, Qin Yuxuan found out about this was that why Lin Fan failed to woo her. That was right. That must be the case. When they were in high school, Lin Fan's family was not rich. As his sister was sick and hospitalized, Lin Fan had no choice but to drop out of school to work and give up on the college entrance examination. In that case, how could he have a sports car and a watch worth tens of millions? The more Wang Heiyaki thought about it, the more likely it was, and his mood became better. At this moment, a series of footsteps sounded not far away. The tall and thin Huang De walked over quickly. When he saw everyone, he greeted them, "Hey, long time no see." When he saw Lin Fan, Huang De's tone became even more arrogant. "Lin Fan, you're here too." Then he said, "I didn't expect you to be a hidden rich second-generation heir. I heard that you have a Lamborghini. Hurry up and show me." "What, Lin Fan has a Lamborghini?" Li Dasong was surprised. "Isn't that so? Someone sent me a photo last time. Let's not say so much." "Lin Fan, quickly bring me there." Huang De said excitedly. Wang Heiyaki pricked up his ears when he heard this. He also wanted to hear how Lin Fan would reply. Lin Fan said, "I'm afraid that won't do. My car is parked in Jiangbei. Today my school's dean, directors, and some others suddenly sent me back on a bus." All of this was the truth, but to Wang Heiyaki it sounded like the funniest joke in the world. If Lin Fan had said that he had sent his car for maintenance, Wang Heiyaki might have believed him. However, why did he say that his car was parked in Jiangbei? The school's dean and directors personally sent him back on a bus. Who did he think he was? What a joke! Wang Heiyaki almost laughed out loud. Your school? Shen Liang asked, puzzled. Lin Fan, are you still studying? Yes, I'm studying at Jiangbei University. By the way, the chancellor has the same name as you, Lin Fan said. Really? Shen Liang said in surprise. When Lin Fan first heard the name of the chancellor of Jiangbei University, he was also very surprised. Jiangbei University, Li Dasong exclaimed. That's a famous university in Hua Nation. Lin Fan is awesome. They were all old classmates. Even though they had not seen each other for a long time, there was no barrier between them when they chatted. It was very relaxed. Huang De, how's the homeroom teacher doing? Li Dasong asked. As soon as he said this, the relaxed atmosphere immediately became heavy. I'm not too sure either, Huang De said. It was said that it's quite serious. However, don't be dejected later. You have to keep the homeroom teacher optimistic and in a good mood so that he can recover faster. That's right, everyone nodded. Finally, everyone entered the ward. At this moment, a haggard middle-aged woman and a beautiful girl were carefully wiping the haggard middle-aged man lying on the hospital bed with an oxygen tube. He was the homeroom teacher, Li Yang. When the middle-aged woman and the girl saw so many people coming in at once, they could not help but reveal a hint of doubt. Hello, madam, we're Teacher Li's former students, Huang De said. As soon as he finished speaking, Huang De, Lin Fan, and the others placed the fruits and milk that they had bought to the side. Li Yang, who was lying on the hospital bed, raised his head with difficulty and smiled. It's Huang De, Lin Fan, Wang Heiyaki, Li Dasong, and Shen Liang. Li Yang had a good memory. Even after so many years, he still called out everyone's names accurately. In the past, many people thought that the homeroom teacher did not know them. At the very least, they did not know their names. However, he could still call their names out. This was definitely something to be happy about. When the middle-aged woman, Yang Wei, heard that they were her husband's former students, she could not help but feel a touch of warmth in her heart. With so many students coming to visit her husband, it was not in vain that he had been teaching diligently. Yang Wei was a little annoyed. You guys should have just come to see your teacher. Why did you bring so many things? You're too polite. They're just some fruits and milk. It's nothing, Huang De said. When Li Yang saw so many of his former students, a hint of redness gradually surfaced on his pale face. Do you all work in Qing City? Li Yang asked in a hoarse voice. I work at Hushui Street office in Qing City, said Huang De. I'm in sales, Li Dasong said. I'm working in it in Jiangbei, Shen Liang said. Wang Heiyaki cleared his throat and said in an extremely proud tone, I'm the supervisor of a listed company in Jiangbei, Jiai Group. I'm studying at Jiangbei University, Lin Fan said. When Li Yang, who was lying on the hospital bed, heard this, his pale face became even redder. He said happily, good, Jiangbei University is great. Back then, Lin Fan performed very well in class, and his grades were not bad. In the end, he chose to drop out of school due to family reasons and did not take the college entrance examination or go to university. This matter could be said to be Li Yang's greatest regret. Now that he knew that Lin Fan had successfully entered a university and that it was the best university in Jiang Province, Jiangbei University, Li Yang was genuinely happy. Wang Heiyaki saw how much Li Yang cared about Lin Fan, and his face flashed with displeasure. Cough. Li Yang's health was not good to begin with. When he suddenly became so happy, he started coughing violently. His heartbeat and blood pressure also began to change drastically. The monitoring device beside him sounded an urgent alarm. Doctor, Yang Wei shouted anxiously. Soon, a nurse and a bald doctor walked in quickly. They quickly checked Li Yong's body and injected a few bottles of medicine. Li Yong's body finally recovered. "Doctor, how's our teacher?" Li Dasong could not help but ask. "The tumor in the patient's body is in a very dangerous state now. I suggest that the patient undergoes surgery as soon as possible," the bald doctor said. "Otherwise, it's very easy for a dangerous situation to occur." After the bald doctor and nurse left, everyone in the ward looked at each other. "Ma'am, is it because you have a financial problem that teacher hasn't gotten the surgery?" asked Li Dasong. "Your homeroom teacher is a full-time employee," Yang Wei said. "He has employee insurance too. In addition, we've built some savings over the years. It should be enough for the surgery. However, this surgery is very dangerous. We have to get a specialist to do it." Li Xinyu said, "We've asked some doctors and they said that it's safest to let experts who are proficient in the flying knife style to perform the surgery." An expert in the flying knife style. Lin Fan's expression changed slightly. He remembered very clearly that his father's surgery was done by a leader of Qing City, Director Li Quan, who was an expert in flying knife style. Initially, Lin Fan was still considering whether he should let his homeroom teacher take medical water. This was not because Lin Fan was heartbroken by the 10 million. It was because many people knew that the homeroom teacher had a tumor in his body. If he drank the medical water and recovered immediately, it would be more troublesome to explain. Now, if he could be treated with normal medical methods, then Lin Fan could use medical water to help him recuperate after the treatment. This was obviously the best choice. Huang De nodded and said, "We should indeed let a specialist do the surgery. It's safer." Then he turned to Lin Fan and the others and said, "Do you know any experts?" Wang Heiyaki, who had been silent all this while, could not help but cough lightly. He said, "You might not know much about the flying knife style, but it's a surgical technique known for its speed, accuracy, and precision. It can achieve the highest success rate of surgery at the cost of minimal trauma." Wang Heiyaki clasped his hands behind his back and spoke with an assurance like a knowledgeable professor. This, he had heard it from his cousin not long ago. He did not expect that he would actually have a place to use it today. His words quickly attracted everyone's attention. Wang Heiyaki looked at everyone's unblinking gazes, and a smug expression appeared on his face. Currently, the most famous surgeon in our country who uses this technique is Chief Physician Li Quan from Jingbei Association Hospital. "Yes," Li Xinyu hurriedly said. "The other doctors also said that Li Quan is very capable. Could it be that you can invite Chief Physician Li Quan to help my father with the surgery?" "Chief Physician Li Quan? How is that possible?" Wang Heiyaki coughed awkwardly and said, "Chief Physician Li Quan is the chief physician of Jingbei Association Hospital. He rarely performs surgeries for people anymore." When Li Xinyu heard this, she could not help but look disappointed. "Although I can't ask Chief Physician Li Quan to help with the surgery, his favorite disciple, Dr. Fan Mingjai, is my cousin's classmate. I can invite him over. You might not know this, but Dr. Fan Mingjai has already mastered 70% to 80% of Chief Physician Li Quan's flying knife style." "Really?" Yang Wei said excitedly. "That's great, Wang Heiyaki. I'll have to trouble you then." "It's just a small matter. You don't have to be so polite, miss." Wang Heiyaki waved his hand. After saying that, he did not forget to look at Lin Fan with a smug gaze. It was as if he was saying, "Lin Fan, aren't you very strong? Why don't you find an expert then?" Then Wang Heiyaki dialed Fan Mingjai's number under everyone's gaze. Not long ago, after his cousin bragged about Fan Mingjai, Wang Heiyaki saved his phone number. After a while the call went through. "Hello, who is it?" A dull voice came from the other end of the phone. "Are you Dr. Fan Mingjai?" Wang Heiyaki asked. "I'm Zhao Feidi's cousin, Wang Heiyaki." "Zhao Feidi's cousin, is there anything you need?" Fan Mingjai asked in confusion. "Oh, it's like this. My high school homeroom teacher has a tumor. Can I trouble you to come to the central hospital in Qing City to help with the operation?" Wang Heiyaki said straightforwardly. "I see," Fan Mingjai said, "but I don't have time right now. Let's not talk about it now. I still have things to do here." Then Wang Heiyaki heard an indignant voice coming from the phone. Is it true that any Tom, Dick, or Harry can call me to ask me to perform surgery now? Immediately after the call ended. As everyone was waiting for Wang Heiyaki to talk to Dr. Fan Mingjai, the entire ward was very quiet. This allowed everyone to hear everything Fan Mingjai said. Silence. Sudden silence was the most terrifying. Wang Heiyaki originally wanted to perform well in front of everyone. However, is it true that any Tom, Dick, or Harry can call me to ask me to perform surgery now? Fan Mingjai's words echoed in his mind. Embarrassing. It was too embarrassing. When Wang Heiyaki raised his head, he saw Lin Fan shaking his head slowly. It was as if he was saying, Wang Heiyaki, you're a failure. Others could laugh. However, Lin Fan could not. Wang Heiyaki was extremely furious and his eyes rolled. After a while he sighed and said, I just remembered that my cousin and Dr. Fan Mingjai had a conflict a while ago. It seems we can't invite him over for the time being. I'm sorry, madam, I can't help you for the time being. It had to be said that Wang Heiyaki still had some adaptability. In such a short period of time, he had made up a good reason. After he said that, the atmosphere in the ward improved a lot. It doesn't matter, you've already done your best, Yang Wei said. Wang Heiyaki continued, Lin Fan, I saw you shaking your head just now. Could it be that you know an expert? That's right, that must be the case, right? You're a second-generation rich kid who's been hidden among us for so many years. Since you know an expert, you must ask him to help the homeroom teacher. Rich second-generation heir, Yang Wei was puzzled. Yang Wei had never seen Lin Fan before. However, she had heard Lin Fan's name from Li Yang many times. Yang Wei knew that Lin Fan had dropped out of school to work because of family reasons. For this, Li Yang often lamented at home. A rich second generation. That's right, Wang Heiyaki said. Madam, you might not know, but Lin Fan had a sports car and a luxury watch at the last gathering. However, the deans and directors of Jiangbei University sent him back to Qing City personally, so he didn't bring his sports car here. Obviously, Wang Heiyaki had already confirmed that Lin Fan was not some rich kid. The sports car and watch from last time did not belong to him at all. Therefore, he was mocking him now. He had just lost so much face, so he would make Lin Fan lose even more face. Lin Fan, hurry up and call the specialist you know, Wang Heiyaki said. The homeroom teacher's condition can't be delayed. He could say that the supercar was in Jiangbei, but what about finding an expert? How could Lin Fan find an excuse? Wang Heiyaki looked at Lin Fan quietly as if he was watching a good show. Although Yang Wei wanted her husband to get professional treatment as soon as possible and she was worried sick, she felt that the atmosphere was not quite right. Hence she said, it's okay if you don't know anyone. Lin Fan said, Madam, you've misunderstood. I know an expert who knows how to use flying knife style. Furthermore, it's Chief Physician Li Quan whom you mentioned just now. I should be able to invite him over with a call. Really? Yang Wei said in surprise. When Wang Heiyaki heard this, the corners of his mouth twitched and he almost laughed out loud. Lin Fan, do you have to brag like this? Li Quan was the head of Jingbei Association Hospital. Even if Lin Fan was a rich second-generation heir, he could not just call him over. One had to know. A doctor at Li Quan's level could no longer be tempted by money. Wang Heiyaki looked at Lin Fan with an even more expectant gaze. He wanted to see what kind of funny scene Lin Fan would make. Since that's the case, Lin Fan, hurry up and make the call, Wang Heiyaki urged. Obviously, he wanted Lin Fan to make a call on the spot to prevent him from doing anything. Lin Fan glanced at Wang Heiyaki indifferently. How could he not understand what he was thinking? However, he did not pay too much attention to it. He nodded and dialed Li Quan's number. When Li Quan operated on Lin Fan's father Lin Tao, the two of them exchanged contact details. Thus Lin Fan could easily contact him. After a while the call went through. This is Chief Physician Li Quan, right? Lin Fan asked. It's me, Mr. Lin, what's the matter? Li Quan's light voice came from the phone. After hearing Li Quan's reply, Yang Wei, Li Xinyu, Li Dasong, Huang De, Shen Liang, and the others all revealed looks of joy. Lin Fan really knew Li Quan. On the contrary, the smile on Wang Heiyaki's face froze. Lin Fan, how did he really know Li Quan? Well, my high school homeroom teacher has a tumor. Can I trouble you to come to the central hospital in Qing City to help with the operation? Lin Fan asked. Of course, no problem, Li Quan said. However, I'm in Qing province now. I might only be able to come over tomorrow to help with the checkup and arrange for the surgery. He agreed. Chief Physician Li Quan agreed. The smiles on Yang Wei, Li Xinyu, Li Dasong, and the others widened. Wang Heiaqi's expression turned even uglier. It was exactly the same. Lin Fan actually said the exact same thing as him. He was directly rejected by Chief Physician Li Quan's student Fan Mingjai. He even said that any Tom, Dick, and Harry could call to have him perform an operation. When Lin Fan said the same line to Chief Physician Li Quan, he agreed immediately. This was the harm of comparisons. Lin Fan said, "All right, see you tomorrow." After hanging up the call. "Thank you, Lin Fan," Yang Wei said happily. "Thank you." Li Xinyu hugged Lin Fan and said excitedly, "Brother Lin Fan, you're amazing." Although Li Xinyu was only 17 or 18 years old, girls developed quickly. At this moment her figure had already begun to take shape, when she suddenly hugged him. Lin Fan felt his lower abdomen heat up. He coughed dryly and said, "This is just a small matter." "Lin Fan," Li Dasong praised, "you even managed to invite Chief Physician Li Quan over. Lin Fan, you're awesome. I actually didn't notice it at all in the past." "That's amazing," Huangdi gave him a thumbs up. "Impressive," Shen Liang said. Everyone surrounded Lin Fan and kept praising him. These words were like the sound of glass shattering in Wang Heiaqi's ears. It was extremely ear-piercing. He could not help but ask, "Lin Fan, did you just call Chief Physician Li Quan of Jingbei Association Hospital?" Obviously, he was doubting the identity of the person Lin Fan had just called. After hearing Wang Heiaqi's words, everyone could not help but calm down. That was right. Was it really Chief Physician Li Quan of Jingbei Association Hospital? Li Quan was a famous doctor. Yet Lin Fan asked him to come over with just a phone call. Was it that simple? Also, the person on the phone just now seemed to have said that he was in Qing province. It was not the capital. At this moment, footsteps sounded from outside. Several doctors walked over. The person in the lead was Director Huang of the Central Hospital in Qing City. When Director Huang saw Lin Fan, he could not help but quicken his pace. He said excitedly, "Mr. Lin, why are you here?" As soon as he finished speaking, he stretched out his right hand and was about to shake Lin Fan's hand. 206 Qing Kun Group, Li Quan arrives. Director Huang liked to watch ancient dramas. He found that the emperors were usually in court and had no way of knowing the lives of the people. Only if the emperor went out in civilian clothes could he slowly discover and solve problems. Hence, Director Huang did just that. Every time he had free time after dealing with the work at hand, he would wander around the wards to see what was not done well in the hospital and what needed to be changed. Today, he did not expect to meet Lin Fan in a ward. Director Huang had a deep impression of Lin Fan. He still remembered how polite Zhao Jiaqi was to Lin Fan. He even visited Lin Fan's father several times. Director Huang was a sensible person. He knew that Lin Fan definitely had an extraordinary status. Lin Fan had a principle: if others respected him, he would respect them. When he saw Director Huang take the initiative to reach out his hand, he also extended his hand and said, "Director Huang, long time no see." "Director Huang." "Director." As soon as he said that, everyone around him revealed a look of surprise. "This is my high school homeroom teacher," Lin Fan introduced. "He's waiting for treatment at your hospital." "What, he's your homeroom teacher?" Director Huang said to the doctor beside her. "Arrange for this patient to be sent to the VIP ward later. Also, call his attending doctor over." "Yes," the doctor beside him quickly responded. After a while, two doctors rushed over. One of them was the bald doctor from not long ago, and the other was wearing silver-rimmed glasses. "Hello, Director," the two of them said in unison. "Tell me about this patient's condition in detail," Director Huang said. There's a tumor in the patient's liver which is closer to the liver and arteries. We suggest that the surgery be carried out as soon as possible to avoid any accidents. This kind of surgery is difficult. It's best to hire an expert who uses flying knife style as the chief surgeon. But our hospital doesn't have any experts in flying knife style. The bald doctor held the CT photos and related medical records, explaining in a very gentle tone. Compared to his previous attitude, it was like heaven and earth. I've already contacted Chief Physician Li Quan regarding the surgery. He can come over tomorrow, Lin Fan said. Chief Physician Li Quan is a master of flying knife style, Director Huang said. Since you've invited him over, there shouldn't be a problem at all. Tomorrow, we'll reserve the best surgical room. Lin Fan chatted with Director Huang for a while more. Then, Director Huang personally arranged for Li Yang to be in a VIP ward with the doctors and nurses before leaving. At this moment, Yang Wei, Li Xinyu, Huang De, Li Dasong, Shen Liang and the rest all looked at Lin Fan. How could they not understand that Lin Fan had definitely asked for Chief Physician Li Quan from the Jingbei Association Hospital? The hospital director and the entire hospital's careful treatment were the best proof. Yang Wei said sincerely again, Lin Fan, thank you, thank you. With this, the homeroom teacher's body will definitely recover very quickly, Li Dasong said. That's right, Shen Liang said. Huang De said, Lin Fan, you really hit it too well. Thank you, brother Lin Fan, Li Xinyu said softly. Li Yang, who was lying on the hospital bed, saw Lin Fan's current ability. His weathered face was filled with gratification and joy. He said in a hoarse voice, Lin Fan, sorry to trouble you. Lin Fan said, this is no trouble, teacher. Everyone kept praising Lin Fan. The atmosphere in the ward was extremely warm and relaxed. Wang Heiyaki, who was standing at the side, had a gloomy expression. Originally, he called someone who knew flying knife style to show off his ability, but in the end, he was called a nobody. Originally, he wanted Lin Fan to become a bigger joke, but in the end, Lin Fan became the object of everyone's praise. In comparison, Wang Heiyaki had become the biggest joke. Lin Fan. It was all because of Lin Fan. Wang Heiyaki was extremely furious, but he was helpless. That night, Lin Fan slept soundly in the house that he had not stayed in for a long time. The next day, when Lin Fan woke up, as usual, there was already a text message on his phone. Notice from Merchant Bank, 3,640,000 yuan was deposited into your account. Lin Fan lay on the bed and scrolled through his phone for a while. He muttered, let's see what we can get from signing in today. Sign in. Ding, congratulations, you've obtained 51% of Qing Kun Group's shares. Qing Kun Group was a large company in Qing City. Qing Kun Palace, Qing Kun Central, Qing Kun City, Qing Kun Hotel, Qing Kun Supermarket and others were all properties of Qing Kun Group. It was a company that solved the employment problem of thousands of people in Qing City. In recognition of Qing Kun Group's contribution, Qing City named one of the main roads in the city Qing Kun Avenue. As a citizen of Qing City, Lin Fan had heard of Qing Kun Group. 51% of the shares. In other words, he was now the boss of Qing Kun Group. Seeing this, Lin Fan's lips curled up into a smile. After getting up and washing up, he bought some donuts and soy milk nearby. Then Lin Fan hailed a taxi and went to the Central Hospital in Qing City. At this moment, Li Dasong, Huang De, Shen Liang, and the others had already arrived at the hospital. Wang Heiyaki said that he had something important to do today, so he could not come. Regarding this, no one paid too much attention to it. At this moment, a series of brisk footsteps sounded outside the spacious corridor. Then, a large group of doctors and nurses walked over. The people in the lead were Director Huang, whom they had met yesterday, and Chief Physician Li Quan, who often appeared in news reports. Mr. Lin, I'm sorry to have kept you waiting, Li Quan said apologetically. Lin Fan said, it's nothing, I just arrived. Besides, I'm the one who should be apologizing for making you rush over from out of town. Mr. Lin, you're too polite, it's my duty to treat and save people, Li Quan said. Director Huang listened to their conversation and could not help but reveal a hint of surprise. One had to know. Chief Physician Li Quan was a very well-known doctor in the industry. The reason why the leaders of Qing City were able to invite him over previously was that Li Quan was in Jiangbei City, which was nearby. If Li Quan had been in the capital, it would not have been so easy. When Li Quan arrived at the hospital, his attitude towards the leaders of Qing City was very calm. In the end, not only did Lin Fan invite Li Quan over when he was in another province, but Li Quan was so polite to Lin Fan. It was hard to imagine. Instantly, Director Huang looked at Lin Fan with even more respect. Lin Fan's identity was indeed impressive. In fact, just as Director Huang had expected, if it had been the leaders of Qing City who invited Li Quan and he was in another province, they would not have been able to persuade him. The reason why Lin Fan was able to invite him over and receive such courteous treatment from Li Quan. It was all because Li Quan had seen Lin Fan save the life of the Zhou family's old master. The Zhou family was one of the top families in Hua Nation. Lin Fan had essentially saved the entire Zhou family. Li Quan, who was in the capital, knew very well what this meant. After some small talk, Lin Fan finally got down to business. Director Li, how is my homeroom teacher? Is the surgery very dangerous? As soon as he said that, the atmosphere in the ward suddenly froze. Yang Wei, Li Xinyu, Huang De, and the others all looked at Li Quan nervously. You don't have to be nervous, Li Quan said in a relaxed manner. I've already seen your homeroom teacher's medical record. His tumor is still a certain distance away from the liver and arteries. There's no danger in removing it. It had to be said that Li Quan's skills were indeed far superior to that of ordinary doctors. The surgery that the central hospital in Qing City did not dare to do casually was not taken to be a dangerous surgery by Li Quan. Let me put it this way, I've performed dozens of surgeries that were more dangerous than this and there were no accidents, Li Quan said. Instantly, the atmosphere in the ward became relaxed. Lin Fan heaved a sigh of relief. If the risk of the surgery was very high, Lin Fan would have to consider whether his homeroom teacher should undergo the surgery. Then Li Quan said to Li Yang, who was lying on the hospital bed, "You didn't eat anything this morning, did you?" "No, I didn't," Li Yang replied. "All right, we'll do a simple examination later and then we can perform the surgery. After that, you'll be able to recover very quickly," Li Quan said. All right, Li Yang said. Under Director Huang's personal command, Li Yang underwent a checkup. In just 10 minutes, all the latest data about Li Yang's body appeared in Li Quan's hands. Li Quan looked through the information carefully and said, "Your body is in good condition. Director Huang, are there any empty operating rooms?" "Yes, I've already reserved the best operating room," Director Huang said. Then, accompanied by several attending physicians and excellent nurses, Li Quan brought Li Yang into the operating room. Time passed by. Even though the famous chief physician Li Quan was the one performing the surgery this time and he also said that there was no danger, Yang Wei was still a little nervous. She said, "Lin Fan, your homeroom teacher, he should be fine, right?" Lin Fan said, "Don't worry, he'll be fine." His tone was extremely certain. It was because even if the surgery was not successful, as long as Li Yang was still breathing, Lin Fan would have a way to save him. Beside him, Li Xinyu, who had been nervous the entire time, felt a lot more relaxed after hearing Lin Fan's reply. "I believe in brother Lin Fan." Krieg. At this moment, the door to the operating room opened. A bone-piercing cold air assaulted their faces. Li Quan and a few doctors walked out together. "Chief Physician Li, how's my husband?" Yang Wei hurriedly asked. "Don't worry, the surgery was very successful," Li Quan said in a relaxed manner. "However, because the surgery has just ended, he's still under anesthesia. We have to wait for him to rest first." All right, okay, thank you, Director Li, thank you," Yang Wei said excitedly, her eyes turning red. When Li Yang fell ill, Yang Wei felt as if the entire sky had collapsed. Now everything was fine. He was finally fine. "You're welcome, this is what I should do," Li Quan said. Then Yang Wei said to Lin Fan, "Lin Fan, thank you." She understood that the reason why Li Yang had such a good result was all because of Lin Fan. Lin Fan said, "Madam, you don't have to be so polite." At noon, under Lin Fan's arrangements, director Huang Li Quan, Huang De, Li Dasong, Shen Liang, and the rest had a sumptuous lunch together. During the meal, Lin Fan received 40,121 yuan from the red packets. In the afternoon, Li Yang woke up and stabilized. Everyone was completely relieved. At this moment, a crisp notification rang out in Lin Fan's mind. "Ding, you've completed the hidden mission, rescue the commander. Reward 5 silver packets." When Lin Fan saw this, his face could not help but reveal a look of joy. He completed another hidden mission. Was this karma? Now the homeroom teacher had survived the danger, and he received another 5 silver packets. After leaving the hospital, Lin Fan walked on the road. His footsteps felt much lighter. Mr. Lin." Not far away, a crisp voice suddenly sounded. Lin Fan looked in the direction of the voice. It was Lianjia's manager, Han Tian. In the past, whenever Lin Fan saw Han Tian, she was always wearing a business suit and a shirt. Today, Han Tian was wearing a long white down jacket and a white V-neck knitted top. Her skin was excellent to begin with, and it complemented her white clothes. Her voluptuous figure was extremely eye-catching. In the past, Han Tian looked like a capable career woman. Right now, she gave off the feeling that she was a beautiful flower that was in full bloom, waiting to be picked at any time. Even Lin Fan could not help but be unable to take her eyes off her. Han Tian saw that Lin Fan was looking at her and her face started to blush. She lowered her head shyly. After a while, Han Tian said softly, "What a coincidence, Mr. Lin, so you're also in Qing City." When Lin Fan heard that, he finally came back to his senses and said, "Yes, what a coincidence. No, my home is in Qing City. It's the holidays, so of course I'm in Qing City. Why did you come to Qing City? Don't tell me your hometown is also in Qing City," Lin Fan asked. Lin Fan's home was in Qing City. Han Tian silently noted this down and said, "My hometown is in Qing Province. The son of a business partner in Jiangbei is getting married in Qing City tomorrow. I'm here as a representative to attend the wedding banquet." Lin Fan nodded his head and said, "Manager Han, it's rare for you to come to Qing City. Let me treat you to a meal." "Have a meal with Lin Fan." Han Tian's heart raced. Without any hesitation, she said, "All right." Jiangbei was a provincial capital city with many high-end restaurants. Qing City was an ordinary prefecture-level city. And the people's consumption power could not support those high-end restaurants at all. Lin Fan brought Han Tian to a nearby tavern called Chu Wei Xuan. This tavern was not big. However, the dishes were all local specialties and there was also the self-brewed sake. This made the meal feel different. When they walked out of Chu Wei Xuan, the sky had already turned completely dark. After drinking some wine and eating some side dishes, Han Tian was now walking along the winding path with Lin Fan. A sense of happiness that she had never felt before rose in Han Tian's heart. As a real estate manager, Han Tian had a good tolerance for alcohol. She had only drunk a small glass of sake in Chu Wei Xuan. Even so, she still felt that she was drunk. She was completely immersed in happiness and could not extricate herself. When they turned a corner, a sharp honk suddenly sounded in front of them. A car suddenly sped over. The dazzling light shone on Han Tian's fair face, making it crystal clear like a precious jade. It was dangerous. It was very dangerous. Lin Fan raised his eyebrows and pulled Han Tian into his embrace. He then quickly dodged to the side of the road and avoided the car. The two of them hugged each other by the roadside. Their eyes met. Han Tian's heart was racing. At this moment, she felt as if she was looking at her own hero. Her gaze was so fiery. Lin Fan was very familiar with this gaze. He could not help but use his eyes of truth to observe. Appearance 94. Favorability 95. At this moment, Han Tian's head seemed to have been attracted by something. She kept getting closer and closer to Lin Fan. Oh epsilon. 3 epsilon. The next morning, in the presidential suite on the top floor of Wang Hao Hotel in Qing City. When a gentle breeze blew outside, causing the branches to sway gently, Lin Fan slowly opened his eyes. The first thing he saw was the bright red on the white bedsheet and Han Tian, who was as docile as a kitten. MHM. Han Tian seemed to have sensed Lin Fan's gaze and let out a soft hum. After that, her long eyelashes fluttered and she opened her eyes. They locked eyes. Han Tian looked at Lin Fan's handsome face. Lin Fan looked at Han Tian's perfect figure. The two of them were like magnets, hugging each other tightly once again. Outside the window, the two sparrows pecked each other's heads, relaxed and happy. About an hour later, the two of them reluctantly climbed out of bed. Han Tian had to attend her client's wedding today, so she could not be late. I don't have anything to do anyway, I'll accompany you later, Lin Fan said. Han Tian had a good impression of Lin Fan since a long time ago. When Lin Fan gave her a bag a while ago, Han Tian fell in love with him completely. Now the two of them had finally confirmed their relationship. Han Tian wished she could stick to Lin Fan all the time. When she heard that Lin Fan was going to attend the wedding with her, she was naturally very happy. She nodded her head and said, "That's great." Then the two of them held hands and went downstairs for breakfast. He got into Han Tian's BMW 530 Li and sped toward Ching Kun Hotel. Ching Kun Hotel was one of the most luxurious hotels in Qing City. Today, a long red carpet was laid out at the entrance of the hotel. Bright flowers were placed on it, making it look even more magnificent and luxurious. Men and women in gorgeous clothes walked on the carpet with smiles on their faces. At this moment, in front of the most luxurious hall of Ching Kun Hotel, there was a huge wedding poster. The people on the poster were the main characters of today, Wu Kai and Zhao Yutong. After the guests entered the hall, they either sat down according to the arrangements or chatted with acquaintances. It was very lively. Just as Han Tian and Lin Fan walked into the hall, a crisp voice sounded from not far away. Han Tian. The two of them looked in the direction of the voice. A woman with good facial features and a hot figure walked over quickly. Lipping, Han Tian said. Han Tian, if you had come a moment later, I would have died from boredom. Zhao Lipping grabbed Han Tian's arm and said happily. When she saw Lin Fan beside her, her eyes lit up as she said in surprise, "Who's this handsome guy?" "I'm Han Tian's boyfriend Lin Fan said. When Han Tian heard this, her heart felt even sweeter. She had only slept with Lin Fan yesterday. Han Tian knew that Lin Fan already had a girlfriend, and more than one at that. Therefore, Han Tian did not know if she was Lin Fan's girlfriend or not. Now she had finally received Lin Fan's acknowledgement. Han Tian, you have good taste, Zhao Lipping said with jealousy. Lin Fan's appearance and temperament were simply too good. I think so too, said Han Tian happily. At this moment, footsteps could be heard from afar. Two men in suits walked over. Aren't these the two golden flowers of the real estate industry? The shorter man said. Chen Dongxiang tu Daipeng, Zhao Lipping said. I didn't expect the two of you to represent Lianjia. It's great that we're all familiar faces, Zhao Lipping said happily. This is indeed good news, Chen Dongxiang laughed. He quickly noticed Lin Fan and asked curiously, this is. Let me introduce you, he's Han Tian's boyfriend Lin Fan. How is he? Handsome, right? Zhao Lipping said. He's really handsome, exclaimed Chen Dongxiang. It's just that the other handsome men in the real estate industry are probably going to be sad. At the side, Tu Daipeng, who had been silent all this while, looked at Lin Fan with a hint of jealousy. One had to know. Han Tian was a famous beauty in the real estate industry and the goddess of Tu Daipeng's dreams. Now she had become someone else's girlfriend. Lin Fan, you look very young. Are you from Jiangbei or are you working in Jiangbei? Tu Daipeng asked indifferently. I'm from Qing City, Lin Fan said. I don't work in Jiangbei, I'm studying at Jiangbei University. A look of disdain flashed across Tu Daipeng's face. He also had a college degree and knew very well that many college graduates only earned a few thousand yuan a month. How could a college student be Han Tian's boyfriend? Just because he was young and handsome. What a joke. Tu Daipeng continued, So you're from Qing City and studying in Jiangbei. You're lucky to have followed Han Tian here today. Because today, you have the chance to see a few big shots that you might never see again. You're studying at Jiangbei University. You should know about Xiao Wu Wholesale City, right? Xiao Wu Wholesale City. Was that not his company? Of course he knew it. Lin Fan was puzzled. Why did he suddenly mention Xiao Wu Wholesale City? However, he still nodded. Today, the chairman of Xiao Wu Wholesale City will be coming personally. Tu Daipeng said. Do you know about the new landmark of Jiangbei, the Imperial Hotel? Tu Daipeng asked after a pause. Of course Lin Fan knew. This hotel belonged to Lin Fan. Hence Lin Fan nodded his head once more. The general manager of the Imperial Hotel will be coming over later too, Tu Daipeng said. Then he continued, I wonder if you pay any attention to the company that produced the medicine you take when you fall sick. Many of them are from Liu Pharmaceuticals. The CEO of Liu Pharmaceuticals will be here today. Also, you're from Qing City. You must know about Qing Kun Group, right? If you don't, it doesn't matter. Qing Kun Supermarket, Qing Kun City and King Kun Central are under it. By the way, the hotel we're at now, Qing Kun Hotel, belongs to Qing Kun Group. The chairman of Qing Kun Group will also be here later. Tu Daipeng was excited as if he knew everything. It was as if he was doing something big. When Lin Fan heard this, a strange look appeared on his face. The people who came today seemed to all be familiar faces. When Zhao Liping heard that so many big shots were coming, she could not help but reveal a look of surprise. She asked, Tu Daipeng, how do you know this? Are they really coming? I just saw the guest list, they should be coming, Tu Daipeng coughed. Suddenly, a series of heavy footsteps sounded in the distance. Then, a large group of men and women in suits and leather shoes strode in.